Woo! Go get it. Go get it. Go get it. Get your blessing. Go get it. Yeah. It's your time. It's your time.
Perfection takes many forms. Eternal, nature's perfume of water.
Wanted $1,000 weight loss medication for $50? It all starts with Rose Free Insurance Check. Just upload your insurance card to see if you have coverage. Then relax. We fight for you so you get the lowest price possible. Start your free check today.
Ooh, child, thank y'all for picking up my call. Nicki Minaj, the queen of hip hop, as well, speaking out against another king and juggernaut. Some called the god of hip hop. But not only that, Nicki also whacked Rock Nation and Megan Thee Stallion for a alleged sexual harassment in the workplace charge that I was just coming about a minute ago. I thought I made it clear well. I thought it was recording. Apparently, allegedly, it's still here. And if not taken care of, Megan and Rock Nation can be deep water. And then Cardi B was kind of like insert herself. You know what I mean? Like kind of just like slide one on it. Be like, hey, I have to say it. I don't know. I really think I don't know. I think she was playing over it.
It's like you're looking through a telescope. You see what you're gonna be. Growing, getting better.
Well, let's have a conversation about it all because this is Ooh Child.
Woo child. Woo child. Woo child.
Ooh Child, let's hop right into this call. I know some of you guys were anticipating this call and didn't guess that I was going to make this call. Of course I'm going to make this call. I tweeted and said, "What are you about to do this again?" This is after, Nicki came out and spoke and just kind of shaded, not even kind of shaded, legit shaded and legit said she needs to say to Megan Thee Stallion and Rock Nation. And pretty much, clocking AT and saying like, wasn't this interesting, ladies? This is interesting. I thought that y'all was untouchable, but here we are. And the thing is, I wasn't just talking about Nicki Minaj. I was talking about Nicki, Megan, and Cardi. And I was like, oh God, here we go. We're doing this all over again. I thought we was cool. You know what? Somebody made a good point. Somebody said, well, now you got content. I do. And then people watching. And I love people watching. The bar came at me and tried to rip me to shreds. And I'm like, girl, I'm in the pink house. Okay, I'm in the pink house, whether you like it or not. Because you won't watch this. You're going to watch this, aren't you? And here you are. Thank you for helping pay my bills. I will say this as well. I don't like that the Barbs take bait to everything. As a Barb adjacent girl, okay, because I'm not a...
Just go ahead and watch all these drinks so that they can be ready.
Amazing. I can be replaced at any time.
I'm ready,
The thing is this. I don't like that this band of the Barbs just gotta attack everybody. It's so weird sometimes. And sometimes I wish I could sit back and listen a little more. Because y'all got a lot of power. You know, the Barb's are both, you know, that's a strong fan-based girl. But sometimes I just feel like y'all gotta take the bait and everything, because sometimes really people just get like engagement markers, you know, like it's really insane. And I feel like y'all not catching on to that. They do it to Nicki as well. Some may say I do it to Nicki as well, but I just about Nicki for years, darling.
For years, darling. I love the Lord, He heard my cry.
But I wasn't gonna correct you. At the end of the day,
You even know you're weak. You even know Precious. Look at me. Ain't no fine Precious. Look at me, Precious. Fine. I'm fine, Precious. I miss you, Precious. Yeah, I got a new job. I got a new job. We got big money. We got big money. Good money. Do you hear me? New fucking money. That means new shoes, new clothes, new YouTube setup. Now I got 3 jobs. See, I'm getting ready to move and we get in a new car. Oh, I am straight. I hear bitches. I like pussy. I like the.
Started this whole like, you know, the kumbaya girl. Let's get right to the end.
We ain't all the way gay yet. We got a new job though. Don't come up in here with that Chinese shit or African shit, wherever you from.
You know, I like that. It's realistic to me. It's authentic. You don't gotta like everybody in this industry. But Nicki has opened the floodgates today on Twitter because she's coming to do that. As I'm calling y'all right now, there's still development happening, okay? I'm still trying to get the tea, but as of right now, Nicki has come for Jay-Z publicly and said that he owes her.
Laugh my ass off, yo.
Just like,
You want him out of here? Cause I know, girl, I don't even know what the fuck he's saying. He talking about gay, but his daddy eat ass.
not that. Not that. No, man, we talking about allegedly 200.
When I touch my dish towel, I can't touch my food after I touch it. It be dirty, you know. Gotta wash them hands again.
Nicki, I don't know how you gonna defend that. You know what I mean? I don't know how you're gonna defend that, Nicki, and not at somebody's courthouse. Because let me tell you something. The way I went at everybody's courthouse immediately, the way I
Precious, how you feel about the Nicki Minaj situation saying somebody, Jay-Z them? How you feel about Jay-Z? Y'all like my live for me. I really appreciate if somebody can like my live. How you feel about Jay-Z and Nicki Minaj? Precious.
So the thing is this, right? We heard about the callers. We heard about the callers. We heard about that man, the blonde wig, okay? They move very privately, okay? They move very behind the scenes, you know? And I think that's the thing. What context do you have? Because I'm not saying that it's wrong. Wrong in the approach, 1,000%. Wrong in the delivery, 1,000%. But I would say that's in 2018. And if I have to be completely honest, I think something is wrong. I think something is going on that she needs to speak out about, but I feel like she doesn't know how to speak out about or doesn't really want to like really blow the roof off this girl. You know what I'm saying? I feel like there has to be something that's a miscommunication or maybe just blatant, you know, sometimes people just get that stuff over. But I feel like there is something deeper in this.
I'm doing great. She said, man, it's a lot. I don't really get into it, but I hope this don't fuck up her B relationship. Oh man, right.
What I do know, let's think about what I do know.
Are you a Nicki fan or what? Like, I'm one of those people who I'm an everybody fan. So I don't really take sides. I'm messy. So I be everybody's friend. When bitches beef, I stand in the back and laugh. I never pick sides. I laugh.
You know what I'm saying? Because here's the thing. Here's the thing, and we learn this often.
But I don't think she wrong. I think something's actually going on. Because nobody gonna keep singing the same tune over and over and over and over and over and over and over. I'm a real nigga. And people know me. I barely even too much care for Nicki Minaj. I don't really care for her. So that's how you know I'm being honest. It gotta be something. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody just going off for no reason. Get this woman her money if y'all owe her some money or something. Because when somebody play with me, I'll burn bridges behind her. I'm not afraid of anybody. We can be best friends today, and if you cross me tomorrow, then we're gonna have to deal with that cross.
We know. You know what I'm saying? know, you my friend for real. You my friend for real. Ooh, you comment where that's from. Ooh, I love. Ooh, we locked in for real. Anywho, moving on. It's kind of fangirl moment, especially for black people. We're putting mental illness on Nicki. Yes, she's crashing out, and yes, it is sad to see when somebody that has a legacy as big as Nicki is, you know, a legacy that's so impactful, that is as impactful as Nicki, to be crashing out publicly. And you know, I wish that she did it in a clean way, quote unquote, in a sense where it doesn't feel like, you know, we need to know all your business. Something like I said, on some back, it's like, oh, these 200 million dog hairs. Hey, the courthouse, Judge Judy will see us now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm about to really do it. Hey, Judge Judy girl, what's that? Talking about the dog. And I feel like somebody gonna take it back. Here she go, giving Nicki a little pass. No. I just, you know what it is? I try. If I could be wrong, I'm never up here trying to act like I know it all and I'm right. I want you to really understand that. People that have been watching me for years, you know. I never want to make you feel like I know everything. Okay? I may feel like I know a little wrong. I don't know everything. And neither do you in this context. Nicki could be going through a lot of real behind the scenes. Like also real life shit. Let me tell you something. You know, Kim already on Twitter put out some documents as far as Nicki, basically she blew through the advance of her tour, and the tour, the Big Friday tour that she did, the Gas Tank tour, was like a make good to get the money back. Now granted, man, mind you, that's very usual for people, you know. And these girls be getting the big girl. Okay? Will get a big
I'm watching my grapes special.
nasty advance. And if you're anything like the Queen Bee, or like Taylor or Gaga, you don't get that nasty advance. But majority of the time, it will be an advance, the merch, you know, that you make, that's all you. Sometimes, you know, there's a with Live Nation and things like that. If anything about that alleged stuff with the tour is true with Nicki's finances, then I would be sitting up here complaining and be loud too. And can I be completely honest before we get to the tweets? I want to put some context. Like, I just want to really put context of what's going on with my girl Nicki. And to me, in all my opinion, nothing factual, okay? You heard me? I'm not saying anything factual, I'm just saying what I'm feeling. You can feel how you want to feel. This is a free, somewhat, a little bit of a free.
Look at all these grapes.
Advertised as a free content.
Grapes. I'm just cleaning off the grapes.
Introducing Tukuma.
Then I'm gonna put them in the fridge so they can be cold.
Fruit from the Brazilian Amazon that combats signs of aging. Tukuma. Hard to pronounce, easy to love. Natura.
How do I describe a Salt Lake vacation?
Now I'm about to do the same thing to these. Let me get some. I got you.
Sweet. Visit Salt Lake. It's sweet.
Join our leaderboard competition for the chance to win a car. Win on all cylinders at Dave & Buster's.
One of my biggest dreams was to road trip Europe in a van.
That's a lot of
Actually, I attempted it 2 years ago, but I was mentally in a very difficult place. There's a bunch of reasons why I'm in a better place now, but one of the biggest is my therapist, who I unfortunately
What'd he
cannot
say?
make. We
He
actually
said,
have
"Oh,
someone
gay."
who recommended
Yup,
therapy
yup,
after I
yup.
survived a near-death explosion. Unfortunately,
Yup,
I go to
yup,
therapists.
yup,
Luckily,
yup.
they're able to switch therapists very easily.
You probably get your
fill out a
throat
quick
fucked.
survey, and they match you with someone in their huge network. I prefer video calls because it feels like there's more of a connection. But if you don't want a video call, you can always just do a regular call.
So what?
And if that's a little overwhelming, you can
Everybody
just text
gay.
back and forth. I never thought I'd do
Everybody
that because
gay.
my family doesn't really believe in mental health.
Literally.
The thought process that changed my mind was that people don't go to the gym.
Point me
just
to a
because
nigga
they're
that ain't gay.
out of shape. People go
Sit
to
me in a
gyms
room with a
to
nigga that ain't
maintain
gay.
shape. So
I
for me,
guarantee you
I don't
gay.
just go because I was struggling with
That's
mental
you,
health, but
Christian.
I continue to still use therapy
Thank you.
because I'm
That's
trying to
all
maintain
you.
good mental health.
They be talking about that. Sit me in a room with that nigga. Guarantee you, he gonna fold. Sit me in a room with that nigga. Guaranteed he gonna fold. Somebody gonna be sucking dick, him or me. Therefore, I don't give a fuck what you talking about. I don't care about none of that.
You know what I'm saying?
With your bitch too. Sit me in a room with your bitch. Something gonna happen.
About like, you know, with like Mercedes, like she used to have, or like, You know how when the girls, you know how these girls got to work with Cheeto and like Marc Jacobs and stuff like that. Like, you know, the girls be out here doing the things like the Tom Brown. And I know she worked with Tom Brown recently for the Met Gala, but I don't know if Nicki have like an actual.
Rashad, I don't know.
I say all that to say, because now you're just the brand deal part of it. I'm also talking about like just coverage from like mainstream media and like with like pushed in a way where it's marketable. Like Nicki Minaj, da 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 da. And that kind of GP, you know, mainstream push has kind of been like pushed aside, it feels like.
Somebody bullying me, Rashad.
It's Nicki's fault a little bit. You know, you could say that. You could say it's Nicki's fault a little bit. In the sense of how the Queen era rolled out and how she like.
What I told you about doing that? What I told you about that? You ignorant, dumb, broke body bitch.
Well, at least the past 8 years, they got there. Like 2017, 2018, 2017, there hasn't been a force to try to get Nicki, and not out of the industry, but humble in the industry. Just walk with me here. I'm just saying, Barb.
Get your dumb, broke body ass in the. Oh.
There just feels like you can't tell me that there has not been something that has been the topic of this phenomenon. But let me also double that coin and say, you know, I gotta be real. You know, I gotta, you know, speak it up for my girl, but I also gotta.
She part of the reason why though.
Queen, I told you about that Big Friday roll. I told you about the AI stuff with Big Friday too. It was a mess. It was a mess. Big Friday 2, the album, the tour was cute. You know, it was nice. It looked better than other girls' tours, but like it you know. But like the rollout of it, the presence of Big Friday 2, the numbers were amazing.
The music,
The numbers, the good sales. That ain't the problem here.
the line, the
I saw the
music.
presentation of it.
Be realistic now. Are you a bar that?
In Pink Friday 2, it's not this AI kind of put together, rushed thing, besides the photo shoots. And like was an actual good era, like a memorable era. Not just everybody. Okay. Really realize concepts and whatever. And better music. Well,
Bet.
I want the Bob to tell me if I'm lying.
You about to add me now? Add him on IG. I'ma add you, Rashad.
You tell me this right now. Besides like 3 or 4 songs that I do go back to as well, like 3 or 4 songs.
I'ma add you, Rashad.
Songs from Big Friday.
I'ma add you to my close friends too. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I'm just playing, bro.
Stop playing with me.
Oh, he said stop playing with me.
It's about my queen. There's things in their discography that I'd be like, okay. You know, not for me, but I like it. I mean, it's there, but it ain't for me. You know? I feel like that's what Pink Friday 2 was good for us because we wanted to use the music to take people regardless, so we took what we get. But imagine if my girl was so sickening. She would be in the caliber of like the Beyonce, which she should be. Let's be honest. Because I don't care about the Grammys. I don't care about her not winning Grammys and all that. Nicki's impact is far beyond other Grammys. Okay? So, to that to say, imagine if you had a sickly solid brand besides going off on Twitter, going on station head, and having the bar, you know, people up. Besides that reputation, okay? Imagine.
Nah, you for real? Yup.
And I'm talking about to the 9.
I'm for real, Prince. I'm gonna add them to my close friends, and I'm just playing. I don't add people on my social media.
Oh, wait, y'all didn't want to have that conversation. Oh, I thought we was having a real conversation here tonight.
I add y'all on my TikTok. That's about it.
Yeah. That's girl playing the game. Not trying to put versus 2, but we're going to call the card a card. The girl's playing the game. And don't Nicki doesn't have to play the game. I feel like I'm repeating myself. Don't Nicki doesn't have to play the game any longer. Would be nice, wouldn't it? And though Nicki doesn't need to play the game to sell records, right? My bar, correct. However, come out. I'm telling you, this industry is about perception. That's the game. That's the name of the game in this industry. I'm telling you this firsthand. It's about perception. All this going up on Twitter and all that, and Nicki say all that for the news. Came out with really good music. execution of the rollout. And not just the rollout, but like the packaging and the look and the feel and the era of Pink Friday 2. Not just an AI Gag City, you know. And no, Gag City wasn't impactful because it did, you know, it's Nicki Minaj at the end of the day. Let's be honest here. But still, she knows what I'm talking about. Because she's done it before. She's done it! She paved the way! If you want to make me win, like, she gonna make the same way. You know, she don't do the Twitter burst anymore. She don't, you know, antagonize nobody. She just makes her points. She makes effortless art. You know, she makes impactful, you know, genre-bending art. You know, maybe pushing the legacy forward. What makes this whole situation with Jay-Z, though it should be taken seriously, it will be taken a lot more seriously, I feel like, if Nicki was just real.
I don't care.
When it came to presentation and music and things that people can't clock her for anymore. You know what I mean? I also, before I get to these tweets as well, I also want to get into the whole, like, Beyonce versus Nicki debate. And I know Nicki went and played Sort of Myself on Station Head a couple nights ago. You know, Sort of Myself about to be diamond. I think that's 7 times platinum. And so these women are making points together. And I don't think that we'll ever really know the relationship behind the scenes with Nicki and Beyonce. Something about heart still tells me it's okay. Like, it's not terrible. Oh, I thought he's probably god awful, but I don't understand why the bars are coming for Beyonce and why the fuck
He said,
well,
later, Rashad. I gotta go though, y'all. Bye, Rashad. Get your dirty ass out of here,
we're
nigga.
not gonna sit up here.
Stop bringing your dusty ass over here just to come and go.
You need and all this because both of those black girls are.
My man's bitch.
And what I won't do to my girls that paved the way for black entertainers is put 2 black women that are successful, very successful, versus each other.
I'm hungry.
In career.
I'm hungry.
And I need people to get real. I need people to.
For real. Fuck you mean, Precious? Somebody, he gotta go.
Please get real. We're compared. Beyonce is not compared to nobody. So can we stop that? Like, the brand Beyonce. It's not even the person. Not even the person. I don't think Miss Giselle can go sit down. Okay? I'm talking about Beyonce, the brand, the multi-billion-dollar brand that's called the Beyonce. Because it's a trademark, Beyonce. The company, bitch, okay? The Parkwood Entertainment. Right? Nobody's doing it like that. She's uncomparable.
I'm hungry. I hate
Why
when
are we
there's nothing
comparing
to
that to
eat.
anybody? And I mean that across the board. Not just the niggas.
It's nothing to eat.
When the bars, not bars, I love y'all. Because I love y'all down.
Are you hungry? For real, what do you think this is? Come type of party. Yeah, girl, I'm
I'm
hungry.
not talking about
There's nothing to eat in here. I need something that I can eat right now. I don't want to cook. What can I eat right the fuck now? I'm hungry. Don't come out here.
One is on the stadium tour. Uh-oh. One is on the stadium tour. Second, third stadium tour. Grossing 300 million? 30 million every 2 shows? What are we talking about? Like, I just don't like that. I don't, because these are 2 very powerful, successful black women. Nicki is very influential in the rap world. Most top Billboard 100s and album sales.
I don't want no cereal.
And iTunes #1s. And
I don't
girl,
want
my
none of
girl,
this shit,
Nicki is
bro.
that girl, the girl cannot
I'm
see
hungry.
When it comes to the,
I'm still looking. I don't want no fucking lasagna.
I didn't even thought of
What
the
is
person
this?
yet. Because the person is that's unfair. That's just unfair.
I can eat this. I can eat this. I can make me some rice.
To be honest, it's not even, girl, what are we?
I forgot this was in here.
I just want to keep real. Because I was like, now, I love my bars. I love y'all pieces. But don't get it crazy up here. Now, not queen. No. Not my girl. No. I don't want that stuff unfair. There's something unfair war that doesn't need to happen. The jazz don't need to happen. Y'all can talk about old lady this and can't sing that, which is very weird. And editing photos and all that, that's fine and dandy. But when we roll out the rollout, when we roll out that, the one time it is that.
This gonna be cricket.
going to do that. I don't think we're going to do that. I think we want to let it kind of just, call out JB, leave the lady with the blonde wig out of it. Leave her out of it. And Beehive, to you, leave the bar alone. They're going to talk. The bar doesn't listen to you. And the bar is fight. They like Rick Ross. You know what I mean? They like that. So Beehive, my girl, let them down. Leave them alone. Don't come to me, that's it's unfair. Beehive, talk to my girl. You know what I mean? We know what our girl will be doing. Our girl is going to be good. Okay? So I mean, let's play it like our queen. You know what I mean? They're gonna bark. The bar's gonna come at us. Like I said, I'm in the bee house, so y'all. I have a master suite in the bee house of just a girl. Okay? I got a couple of houses. But the monsters in the beehive, bitch, I got grand sweet, bitch. Okay? So all I'm saying is, beehive is unfair. We know where we lay, we know where we give, we know where we are. And the bar knows who they are, they know big head, they are sexy as well. They know big head, bitch, that bitch is good, y'all know that bitch is legendary as well. What our girl is. Okay. So, I think I need to end that. You know, bar versus the beehive versus the bar, I think
It's not fair.
you know, fighting your house. And that's so tea.
Navy Federal Credit.
Hi, how are you? Oh, okay, you found something. Yeah, it's this chicken that Jada made the other day. It's basically some it looked nasty, but it's pretty decent. It's some chicken. I'm gonna make some rice, and then I'm gonna put the chicken over the top of the rice with a little bit of gravy there, whatever is made.
Okay,
I'm gonna try to
guys.
make it taste a little better. But
One sec, just gonna do it real quick. Hims? Yep, Hims. You too.
Hamster indeed. Always works for me.
I'm Hims and right now. So simple, so convenient. Weight loss by Hims, boys. Gotta get on some. For care that's doctor trusted, convenient, and personalized. Get started today at Hims.com.
Tea. It's still tea. It's just the truth. Fight your caliber, girl.
he cooked some type of lemon chicken. Now it's okay, but I don't it's a lemon chicken. It's pretty good. The texture of the chicken was really good, but I still like my food to be full flavor. I don't like accent seasonings. Like an accent seasoning can't be the base of something I eat, or it just won't sit well with my taste buds. And it just tastes lemony, but it isn't. I don't taste any other seasonings other than the lemon. I prefer for it to be seasoned like with seasoned salt, pepper, and all those things together, and then have a hint of the lemon on there. That would be better for me. So that's the only reason why I'm adding some seasoning to it. Because, like, even lemon pepper wings, I like the lemon taste on there, but I still want to taste a combination of other seasonings too. Lemon cannot just be the base of my food. I don't like it.
Judge Wood, a young man who is gay, probably believes that the alleged sexual encounter that should be an abuser created a hostile work environment based on the plaintiff's sexual orientation. Basically saying, like, he should be okay with it because he's also gay. This is all alleged, it's all alleged, it's all alleged. And the headline for that is Megan Thee Stallion and Roc Nation can't dismiss him in their lawsuit over alleged car incident. The federal judge says the salacious lawsuit sets forth adequate discrimination and retaliation claims and can move forward. That is a little come on, cat dog. Just for my hot. Hey y'all. Oh, y'all hate me too. Ciao. The target is what Nicki has to ask. For Megan. This is for Megan. This is a fool. This is a fool. And this won't be good for her. Because if, and I don't know, I could be wrong, but is it, just in case, I don't know, if Megan gets, accused of this, if this actually is true, this could be like a sexual, predator type, sexual thing.
No.
Am I wrong? Like, I don't know. I could be wrong. But Nikki put this on her.
Basically, he's saying that he worked in a hostile work environment. I don't like when people don't do their research. Megan Thee Stallion is being sued because she created a hostile work environment. The things that they're talking about are just things that were inside of that thing. Basically, when do you start your new job? I gotta wait for my background and stuff to clear up. I already know my background and stuff is gonna be cleared up, so I already claimed the job. And then I gotta figure out how I'm gonna I still got work at my other job too. I gotta figure out, how I'm going to play this in. Cause I never tell the new job my previous schedule. I always try to keep that to myself because I'm like, they ain't gonna want to hire me if I got open valuability. So we're gonna see how we can finesse still being able to work all three jobs together. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to do that. But basically, Zach right here is basically trying to go in on. No, I'm not bottom. I wouldn't say bottom. I will bottom. I wouldn't say bottom though. I prefer actually top. I prefer top more than anything. I prefer to give more than I receive to take. I never even got that. Like crazy bottom aura. I never really even got that. People don't never even really say that to me. Although I'm not trying to hide it. I feel like gay is gay. Shit. If you like men, you like men. Everybody get down. But I wouldn't necessarily see myself as a bottom at all because I'm eager to get some ass all the time. But anyways, back to this right here. Yeah.
I don't know if she's defending Megan or just like adding fuel to the flame. She tweets, go to dinner, go shopping, go to the park, get off the internet, enough.
He's skinny now. Hey, get up, get out.
But here's Nikki tweeting that as well. But I will say this as well. Cardi, you didn't have to say that. No, my body gang, my body gang.
Big old tongue.
You didn't have to say it. Cardi, but you over there looking good. You over there naturally in the devil. You know what I mean, Cardi B, you don't need to be commenting on no.
Y'all remember?
No,
Y'all remember?
like,
Yeah, precious. When I start this job though,
you know what I mean?
we're gonna finally do everything that I've been saying. Because honestly, I just been working one job right now. When I first started YouTubing with y'all, I was working a different job and I was working way more. That's why I wasn't able to go live as much at first. But then I let the job go and I've been just working, my other two jobs. And basically they're a little bit more flexible. And mainly I'm just trying to look for more experience so that I can broaden my what I'm able to get in this field. That's what I'm basically trying to do. I'm not necessarily looking for a certain type of pay or anything. I'm looking for more types of experience so I can say, oh, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this. Because you don't necessarily have to. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Everything will definitely come. We all grow together. I win, you all win. Basically, all these jobs be like, oh, you need this, you need to know that. So I could just go to the jobs. As long as I can prove that I worked there, I can tweak the times that I've been there. I can say, oh, I worked this amount of time, this amount of time. They ain't gonna go to fucking check. They lazy anyway. Everybody lazy. But they go, oh, you need experience. Boom. So I'm gonna show you bitches. I got experience now. Since you want me to have the experience, I got it now, bitch. How long you worked there? 12 years? I ain't worked there 12 months, bitch. Tell these people whatever the fuck they want to hear. Just make sure all your documents make sense. That's all you got to do. As long as all of your documentation makes sense to what you're telling them, you don't have to worry about explaining too much. That's what I do. How long you been working there? 5 years. 5 years? Wow. Yep. Why did you leave? What did I do? I voluntarily resigned. That's the words I use. Girl, you got to hear me. You know I code switch, so I turned into a white man. I voluntarily resigned due to maybe I'll say a new opportunity or anything came up. Anything. Just be lying to their ass. Tell them exactly what they want to hear. You tell them jobs the same thing you tell them motherfucking niggas when they trying to fuck. Whatever they want to hear. Get to that motherfucking job. Or when you trying to fuck. You tell that job what they want to hear, baby. Can you work weekends and holidays? Yep. They don't even know that you already got Christmas booked and Thanksgiving booked. That you'll be out of town. Yep, but I can work though. As soon as it come up, you say, oh, I already had this plan before I even started this job. As long as you got proof that shit planned, you ain't got to worry about shit. The I'm telling people everything. And then at the end of the job, I hate when people sign them documents. Don't sign them documents when they trying to tell you that you got to sign something to pick up your check. You ain't got to sign shit to pick up your check. By law, they got to give you that check. You sign that document, that basically means that you are resigning, and that basically means that you can't go sue them or you can't go get no motherfucking unemployment. Don't sign that document at the end of no job. If you quit, go out that bitch with a bang. No, I would not sign nothing. They tell you not to sign nothing, go and cuss them out. You about to get fired anyway. You start the cussing up in that bitch, they gonna put you out. But they can't put you out without that check, so you'll get that check and walk on up out of there. Trust me, man. You gotta learn the ropes through these jobs. These jobs right here be trying to finesse people. I'm telling you. Especially in the industry I work in. In the industry I work in, it's a cutthroat fucking industry. And it's a lot of Hispanic people that run the industry I work in. But I make it work. I don't really want to blame the Hispanics or anything. I blame whoever don't want to work. If Hispanics want to go work, let them go get the jobs. There's a lot of people who are too caught up in their emotions. They won't even pick up a pen and go fill out a job application. Most job applications are digital now, but they won't even go online. They spend all day online, dating websites, social media, won't even fill out a job application. So I don't necessarily want to blame any certain race for taking up all the jobs, because if you apply enough, you'll get that job. Point blank, period. People just are lazy. They want everything to come to them quickly. Yeah. So that's how I feel. I'll be applying for all types of jobs, even jobs I feel like I can't get. Shiny! It's hump day. It's hump day. Bow, bow. It's hump day. Hey, it's hump day. Hey, it's hump day. Hump day. Hump day. It's hump day, Shawnee. What's up? Happy hump day.
So wait, Jay-Z had not let us play at the Super Bowl after his CEO was pardoned by Donald Trump.
Dun. Hey, dun. They not like us. They not like us. They not like us. Do y'all look at this song still? Hey, what day it is? It's hump day. Precious, do you know Shawnee? Shawnee, do you know Precious? You know my mom, Precious? Precious is the CEO of Trey Jones TV. She's the CEO. Lucas is the president of Trey Jones TV. This is the whole corporation over here, just so you know.
President Biden posted not like us after Desiree.
Walk up in that bitch.
So, interesting. She called President Biden but I guess that's right. She also tweeted, being a gay man doesn't give any woman the right to sexually grind on you or have sex in front of you. I remember seeing someone grind on their hairstylist.
She says, happy hump day, Precious. If Precious still here, Precious be dipping out. I need to go to the gym. See, these trying to come in, but they come and then they go. Because I go to the gym for 5 days, then I skip 15 days. It ain't working.
All of this is alleged for intended purposes only.
What's it gonna be?
So somebody tweeted here as well.
I
Interesting.
can't let go.
She was not paid a penny for
I'm
life.
too
Other
hard
artists
to
made millions from it.
Oh, then friends.
They gave her equity. If you beat, none of the other 13 artists they gifted equity to agree with her. Let me see what this video is talking about. Let me see this. Let's see this talking about.
What's it gonna be? I'm gonna put some Parmesan on this chicken.
As black people get shitted on publicly like that. I just don't like it. I think in that case, what Nicki did was wrong. To bring up Tidal, his streaming company, that he gave you equity in, that you know, didn't sign the fucking paperwork, and that's the reason why you left millions of dollars on the table. That man didn't do nothing to you. To be talking about somebody who's living in Kendrick or Wayne or Drake or Usher.
He waits all his money on season. That's why you ain't have nothing to get drunk.
That's what we should be doing.
Okay. Before I get into that, because that's one way that can go. So, Sure.
Literally.
I get what you're saying, we take care of the black people, whatever, but then people just get shady, you know, black or not, dude, I'm on my point. But also, like I
Hey,
said,
you waste all your
what's the legit-
money
I
on
need-
seasonings.
where's the- I need to see it.
Your seasoning is probably like $40. That could have been me.
Like, you need to make something, hey, girl, the tweet ain't gonna do it. And it's trying to change the public
All I got
opinion.
was lemon pepper. Yeah.
It's supposed to be believed.
This no.
Desiree, were you out marching with your fellow
On your
Mexican
college.
immigrants? Oh, right. You were started by President Trump, so you kind of can't, right?
Pepper. All you got is
I mean, it kind of implies you guys are moving here while y'all all y'all not as friends either.
It ain't that bad.
Just like Diddy. I mean, if someone comes in,
Just talking.
we need to be friends for life.
$10
You turn so much
a
people
year.
to black people, now you turn your
It
back
ain't
on
that
your
bad.
own.
Get the fuck away.
Don't
People
you
don't like
guys
dogs
think
around
that
that shit.
black artists fighting while you sit back and get the fucking occasion.
Precious said, "Hey, Shawnee, after 9 is wine time. So we sipping wine tonight,
Yes, a lot of
bitch.
people see-
Nah, I ain't doing that. Y'all know I get drunk fast. I get drunk off anything, bitch. We get wine in here. I get to reminiscing. We don't need no
I
liquor.
wonder how Desiree thinks President Trump for that kind gesture. LOL. Got a Hispanic woman allegedly calling her son-in-law Gator under the protection of y'all so-called black savior. While y'all sat around making them rich. When y'all need them both, they're silent, though.
So I'm gonna eat my chicken, right? Because I
Jay
was
come
starving.
out to perform recently once
This I probably ain't gonna be home
started
long.
coming out, and yet when Obama was pleading for the brothers to vote for Kamala, the richest and most influential black man.
This could be my lunch.
I don't know.
You can cook later.
It seems like an
Right now.
urgent request
What you gonna
the
eat?
tone of Obama's speech, yet another billionaire never got in the field with y'all, huh?
You already ate?
Well, he didn't have to vote after all that money he made off the party. Brainwashed.
Yes, we need a wine day. We gotta do a wine day one day. We could do that on Shawnee channel. Cause I told y'all don't want me to be drinking. I can't hold water. I'm gonna be drunk.
But did they eat? Look at, oh, I love it being high. Did they eat? They got no problem. But I ain't gonna want you. There is something there.
Hey, this
That's
Nikki?
our girl. She also knows
I
the
gave
same. So
her
let me get
full
this
permission.
straight. The so-called black savior, Jay-Z, has an Hispanic CEO as part of by Trump. Interesting. So does that mean Desiree isn't a Democrat? She's so brilliant. I'm trying to get in character because I'm not black people, I thought y'all hate all Trump supporters. Wait, did Jay-Z ever campaign for Kamala?
Oh, celebrities are Trump supporters. I didn't tell them that. All of them is Trump supporters. Even Beyonce supports Trump. Beyonce went out for Kamala for a bag. Beyonce not a Democrat. If Beyonce was a Democrat, she'd be a struggle
Trump,
Republican.
and that was so kind of President Obama to passionately go out.
There's no such thing as a rich Democrat. They're all fake. Beyonce went out to get a bag, baby. We know that. It came out. Trump exposed her. Megan Thee Stallion even got paid to go out there. All of them scammers.
All black people, it looks like the Jigga Man is just let's play y'all once again. The jig is up.
The jig is up is fucking hilarious. That's a good play on words. Jigga. The jig is up is fucking hilarious. Did y'all watch that? The jig is up. Nicki posted on Twitter about Jay-Z. I'm just catching it. The jig is up. Jig is up is a good one. That's funny as fuck, Brie Brie. The jig is up, Taylor.
I just hopped in.
You said you play that song every day? Come on, to the front, Malik. Oh, God. Okay.
fan getting up that line, knowing you ain't know the fucking lyrics. Get your grown ass up there. I be so annoyed when people be starstruck by celebrities and they can't get their words together. That annoys the fuck out of me. So you wasted all your time to get this opportunity to say nothing. Get your dumb ass out of here. Those are the best fans to ever have. I was always taught that. Your core fans.
Nikki has something that she said.
What's the difference between fans and supporters?
I get ready to put this call out, or maybe we'll put it in. I don't know.
That's going on out there. When you got a fan, that's somebody who will support you regardless even if you don't know they exist.
I just feel like
Those be fans.
I hope that Nikki understands that, listen, your fans love you.
This was good,
Your
right?
pop loves you still, Nikki.
I still love Nikki too.
You like this is
She
insane.
just gotta
I mean, even male rappers
shut the
have
fuck
been-
up sometimes.
So I just
I don't
say,
really want her to shut up. I'm gonna get there.
I'm a little nervous.
Cause I never really cared for the music, so I like the drama.
No more black ball.
I never cared for the music. There's a lot of people that never care for her music. So I hate when they be saying, make better music, make better music. You never listen to that shit, no way. Shut up. Y'all just want to find something to complain about. You can just jump on a bandwagon. You never really cared about the music. It was the features. You said, ayy.
That's all. And that's for anybody. Not just me. Anybody. And I'll say this, I'll leave you with this, right?
I think I don't like that. Now that I want it up, it's like a milky taste to it. Maybe next time I want to make this. I want to make it, but I want to make it with some gravy too, and mix it in.
Flip side of that is that Cardi plays the game. Okay? Cardi's out here at Fashion Week giving looks with a roll on her.
I know she tired too.
Got a curl on her. Like she's giving you a moment, she's doing what she needs to do for the album, she's doing what she needs to do. So it's not just Twitter, it's not just crash outs, it's not just AI things put
What?
together. I'm not comparing the girls, I'm just saying if you're going to throw
Why
stuff,
didn't you roll it down?
because like I said in my earlier part of this call,
I rolled one right here. This is
have
bomb.
a brand together.
That's just for you.
Legit,
I don't know, wait.
like,
What you looking
not-
into?
Like more than just a Met Gala appearance and looking good. Because you know what I mean? Like I wish I had more than that right now. I wish I saw more of her. I wish I saw more of just that. I wish I saw more of my girl being out here.
Boy, you're trying to be funny because you see more.
'Cause if I be really
That's not what the problem is right now with Nicki Minaj. The problem is right now with Nicki Minaj, people expect the elevation that they want to see from her to come from her. It's not possible. The elevation y'all want from her is the reason why she's fighting, because she's not able to get that anymore. It's from the corporate giants. That's how I feel. And that's why she's lashing out. Things aren't adding up, and it's making her really sit down and really think about all the shit they're doing, and they're probably still doing shit on top of that. And it's a good thing that her shit is realistic, because I feel like her views are actually real compared to other people. They have whole teams. For her to be able to actually reach their numbers with no team and shit shows you that what if she did have the push they had.
You see what I'm saying? It would be big going against Jay-Z. That's always still big, her going against Jay-Z, but if you looked at the lens of here she go being crazy, here she go, she losing her mind, she's slipping. The gag is, watch something come out. I'm just saying, if something come out later, allegedly, if something comes out later, then what? Like, presentation, like I said, this industry is all about what? Perception.
Perception, that's true.
All right, Ty, that's all right. I've been on this call for about an hour.
How people feel about you, that's why Beyonce don't say nothing.
I've been talking for 5 hours. Let me know, and I'm not gonna let you know the comments below what y'all think about everything about this, but I just want to know what y'all say. I do want to know what y'all thinking, what you think.
Can y'all follow me?
And who knows? This development.
Can y'all double tap?
An ongoing
Can
thing.
y'all like my live?
No, but I will be keeping a close look, and we will stay tapped in together. Okay? Please be nice to all these ladies. Cardi, Nicki, Megan, we love y'all. Beyonce, we love you. Jay-Z, we respect you.
I think what Megan to do, they should pay that man off. That's all they should have just did. If they would have just gave him a check at first, he wouldn't have kept going.
spare change into savings stocks or Bitcoin. You use your Cash App card.
Give me 17 cents on Bitcoin.
Want the fastest working GLP-1?
You still got straight A's?
Price? Well,
You got straight A's?
FDA approved weight loss injections.
My boyfriend got straight A's.
See weight loss results faster.
I don't feel like Beyonce should let them drag her husband in the mud either. But at the same time, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I don't think she should get personal into it. I feel like Beyonce is here. Nicki is there. You know what I'm saying? And no disrespect to Nicki because she's an icon as well, but she's not touching Beyonce. Beyonce is respected by legends. I don't think she should say any motherfucking thing. And then on top of this too, I don't feel like Beyonce even like Jay-Z. I feel like that's a business deal. Beyonce's sister against Nicki is two different things, though. You know, Solange beating Jay-Z versus Nicki is two different things. I'm pretty sure because Beyonce is attached to Jay-Z and Solange. She's not attached to Beyonce. I mean, she's not attached to Nicki Minaj whatsoever at all. And Nicki Minaj dissing Jay-Z is a direct diss to Beyonce, regardless of whether you look at it or not, because they are a couple. Regardless of what we believe, we don't know. They're a couple to the public eye. Their perception, they pursue, you know, they show us that they're a couple. So I'm pretty sure Beyonce kids are seeing that too. They have children now. It's a whole different ballgame. So I'm pretty sure even if Beyonce is responding, she's probably responding behind the scenes, doing a little tricky shit, pulling the bag. Trust me. Beyonce, for one, is that girl. She really don't have to say much, you know what I'm saying? But I do know she feel it. I'm pretty sure she feels it. I'm pretty sure she's like, what's going on? But then and again, I hate to say shit like this. This might be a dark place where I'm going, but what if whole time Nicki and Jay-Z done fucked? What if whole time Nicki done smacked on or cracked Beyonce nigga, B fuck around, say something, and Nicki just, you know, let it rip on her? Sometimes it's best to shut the fuck up, you know? Sometimes it's best to shut up. Or Nicki was friends with Black China, all them industry hoes. She probably got tea on them. Sometimes it's best to shut up and play your role. Because if Nicki say something about Jay-Z cheating on B and have facts about something, that shit gonna go left. You know, then she got to pull herself out of there. I'd rather her just shut up and let him handle it, you know? Because you fuck around and say the wrong... I always think of that. When you think of beef, you have to think of how dark it can go. You have to think of how dark it can go. And if Beyonce starts to argue with Nicki, who knows what it might bring out? Who knows? I don't know. But I think Nicki's a dumbass fool for signing to Jay-Z and not checking up on the money. Why wasn't you watching? You're too busy trying to be likable and shit, trying to hop on every feature. You should have been taking care of the business. She wasn't taking care of the business. She was just trying to stay relevant. And it worked, but she wasn't getting to the bag. Like, a lot of these girls have lots of endorsements and shit. A lot of these girls, when they leave this rap game, they ain't gonna have to work. They gonna have money being made for them. Like Cardi. She very smart with the bitch might can't rap, but she gonna have a lot of endorsements and shit. And that's no disrespect to her because she rap better than me. She put out full projects. I'm not disrespectful. But for my ears, the music Cardi B produces just as a stick wheel. I love her rollouts and stuff. I think she's extremely professional. But for my ears, she don't make good music. I don't think Nicki Minaj makes good music either. I think Nicki Minaj is a better lyricist. Her music makes more sense. And she does have 1 or 2 or 3 songs that are hit, you know. But as far as like good music, I don't think she makes good music. Yeah, I think Beyonce way too classy to argue with Nicki in person. Because there's other people who have done way more disrespectful stuff to Beyonce. And people who are way more powerful than Nicki that Beyonce should have answered to. Like Taylor Swift doing certain little, you know, tricky shit. But then I feel like Beyonce don't have no backbone to even say nothing because she's scared to go up against the white people. You see how her and Taylor Swift ended up locking in together after all that disrespect.
Hit
hit the notification bell so everything.
I'm realistic.
If you reach my channel, you're welcome. Please hit the subscribe button and I love you. We 10 subscribers, y'all don't shoot from y'all, so love you guys too. Rob your clubs for somebody to let's see, let's quickly get into today's video. Now, when I say this internet is Nicki Minaj starting it, don't believe
Now,
me. Okay,
first thing first, we have to look back at the facts too. Nicki Minaj didn't start speaking out about Jay-Z until Megan Thee Stallion signed to that label. Before then, everything seemed to be good. She was still speaking on, and it's proof because I had watched the video with when she was just speaking good about Jigga and all of this and stuff. Something happened with that. Maybe she called the line and was like, don't sign that bitch or whatever, and they still did it behind her back, or maybe they already had a talk about her and they did, you know. Or maybe she introduced them to the people and Megan did some dirty shit behind the door. Who knows? But that's when she started to care. Because not only did they lock, basically what I'm hearing is Roc Nation, it's only 3 ticket places, like when you go on tour and shit, it's only 3 places that you go through, like Ticketmaster, Live Nation, and all that. Roc Nation get a piece of all of that shit. So some type of way I'm feeling that they lock all these artists in like slaves and promise them certain things, and then if something was to go bad, or even if they just don't want to, the deal doesn't go anymore. The artist is expected to uphold their end of the contract, but the company doesn't have to if they don't necessarily want to. So, keeping that in mind, something happened when Megan Thee Stallion signed to Roc Nation. Something happened. Maybe Deseret was Nicki's plug at first. Maybe those were people that she worked with at first, and they were helping her be able to keep afloat, especially in a Cardi B era or world, you know? That's what I'm thinking. And then once Megan Thee Stallion's greedy ass came in the game, Megan was fucking with everybody. Like, Megan was cool. She came in with a different type of vibe. She was able to work with everybody. That's a dangerous person. Somebody who can actually network everywhere is a very dangerous person, especially in that type of field. It's competitive. It'll be dangerous for Nicki and dangerous for Cardi, you know, because basically that person could take their job. Although Megan wasn't able to do it because she still got a chance though. But I feel like Megan Thee Stallion wasn't able to get that superstar power because she got too caught up in social media. Although she came in through social media, I think she should have took a step back from social media a little bit quicker than what she did. The Tory Lanez situation with her also really held her back because in the beginning, she should have just said that he shot her. That's the first thing. She should have just said that he shot her from get-go. You know what I'm saying? And if she decided to say he didn't shoot her, when they got to get into arguments and stuff, she should have never came back and said, okay, yeah, Tory shot me. She should have just let it go. That would have saved her career. But since she was spiteful, she kind of fucked up. Hey, Jaquavius Bray. So, back to Nicki. I think something along that lines made Nicki jealous. And maybe Nicki was hitting up Megan Thee Stallion. Maybe Meg started to act different because maybe the team at Roc Nation told her to stop talking to her. She doesn't like you. Don't hit her up. She doesn't really feel you. Because you notice Doja Cat took a step back and Doja Cat was like, I ain't jumping on the Nicki song because I don't think she liked me. And Nicki didn't like Doja because maybe she was threatened by Doja. Or maybe she felt like them bitches was copying her and coming in and trying to show her homework that is her work already. You know, a bitch try to come show you they plans and them your exact plans. That's your blueprint. Imagine a bitch coming to show you what they plan to do and it's your work. Other than that, what could it be? You know they all use ghostwriters and shit too. I feel like they all be stealing each other's teams and stuff. I learned that the hard way. Like, the outside of a celebrity, what you see is built. It's built. It's built up. They could tell you anything. And they work hard. They are actors too. So they acting. They basically create a persona about themselves and they stick to it. The best person will win. If you actually stick to it and, you know, practice, you'll be good at it. So I'm not sure if... Because at first, you ain't see Nick. You would never expect this to be Nicki. As far as the persona that she brought in at first. She would have just dished your ass on the track. Nobody see her going back and forth with bitches. She never really did that. Even with Kim. She never argued with Kim. She would go in there and put a motherfucking song, come out and embarrass the fuck out of Kim. Had a whole world talking shit about Kim. She didn't have to say a word, bitch. Every interview she went to, they asked her. Every interview Kim went to, They asked Kim about Nicki. They didn't even ask Kim about her work. That's how hard she was coming at her. So that goes back to show you all of that shit is perception, and that's built upon from that person. Now I feel like what Nicki is showing you is the real Nicki. But that shows you right now that she's tough-skinned and she wasn't going to allow anybody to run her over from the beginning. So you see now that you still need to have tough skin to get in the game, but you also need to be able to have a light switch. She has two personalities. She's able to be kind and classy when she needs to about her bag, and when you try to play with her, she will bite the shit out you. You see how she's coming like, bro, like, bitch, nah, what's good? Nobody would probably even expect Nicki to act that way if you just go back and look at the beginning, because even though she still came off as like, you know, hood and stuff, she was very classy, very light spoken, and she wasn't giving ghetto as if she would cuss you the fuck out. It looked like she just had a boys come beat your ass the fuck up. But I'm pretty sure she was still this person underneath all of that pretty and pink Barb shit. That's probably why she would drop her diss tracks to let a bitch know, don't let this Barbie chain fool you, ho. I guarantee you I'm spitting facts. So, but this is all allegedly, you know what I'm saying? But this is what I'm being somebody who's lived all types of street lives. You can light the blunt, baby. From the street to the suburb. Something happened in that music industry because she's been singing Hov's name for forever, y'all. Oh, we love Hov, Jay-Z the Big. She tried to put herself in that category with them. She does. She's done it for a very long time. She always includes herself in there with Jay-Z and Kanye. Well, the Kanye shit fell off. And if Nicki had a problem with Jay-Z already, I'm pretty sure that Kanye situation was enough amp for her to be like, okay, shit. Kanye said fuck him. I'm definitely finna say fuck him. Everything, you know, really going crazy right now. And secondly, she could feel like she's backed up. Thirdly, she could feel as if she's backed in a corner and she has nothing else to lose but speak up. She don't have Young Money no more. Young Money is barely here. Young Money is barely here. Barely. All Nicki got is Republic. Come on. Republic got other artists that I'm pretty sure that they more worried about right now than Nicki. She's probably, so you know what I'm saying? And this is being realistic. She's probably making it hard for them to even keep her as an artist. She's probably making it extremely hard for them to even be able to get her any type of work. You know what I'm saying? That's just being realistic. Because get the fuck away. Get the fuck away. But still, they're not going to let her go. Because she is a huge artist, you know what I'm saying? They're not going to let her go. They're going to keep her on there because if they let her go, somebody else will come pick her up. Or letting her be independent will really kill everything. Well, really, because she ain't got to worry about none of that. She can go really create her a whole new catalog and get all of the money from that. But, I don't know. Going back to the plot, something happened. I don't know what they did. They started fucking with her bag, or they started giving everything that they promised her to Megan, and she stopped to like Megan. Or maybe they was trying to basically look for this one particular girl so they can have on their roster to disrespect Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion as somebody who said that she was cool with Nicki. Nicki probably already knew that they was going around trying to do this, and she didn't expect Megan Thee Stallion to be the one to do it because they did have some type of relationship. And maybe Megan Thee Stallion took some type of agreement that was disrespectful towards Nicki Minaj's stance, and now Nicki Minaj is like, oh damn, I thought we was cool. Fuck that bitch. This is the second or third time that she's done some dirty shit to me. Told the bitch to come over here to Queen Radio. She ended up saying, oh, such and such. But when this person needs you to come and show up, you come and show up. That could be the only thing. That could be the only thing. Other than that, because women only normally fight about two things: loyalty and money. Like fucking they man or fucking with their money. Women don't argue about other shit. All that other messy shit either be revolving around those two things. Exactly. Nicki Minaj. Go! Nicki Minaj's name is definitely big enough to go on her own. But no label is in dick. Exactly. In dick. That's what I said. In dick. But come on. No label is going to allow Nicki Minaj to go independent because then they're going to miss out. Their goal is to make money. They would never let that bitch go independent. That's how I know Megan Thee Stallion is not independent at all. She's not independent. Megan Thee Stallion, this is a big world. If Megan Thee Stallion was to go independent, everything she earned would be gone in the first 2 years. Every dime. When Roman comes, there's no stopping her. When that Roman, you know, Gordon Cage, I'm not so, I like I said, you know, I respect Nicki, but Roman ain't been able to help lately. Nobody's scared of Roman no more. Motherfuckers is laughing at Roman like a joke lately. Roman was able to stop Lil' Kim. Roman was able to stop Iggy Azalea. Roman was able to stop so many other female rappers that came into play. But Roman couldn't fuck with Cardi. Becca Lee's, they put their money in her. That was probably the most embarrassing year of Nicki's career altogether. They shitted on her that year. And that's really why a lot of people liked Cardi so much, and probably still do, because they have this underlying envy of Nicki Minaj. Some people really don't even like Cardi. They just like to see go in the fucking cage. A lot of people like to see that person that is like seen as big be broken down. I don't know why it's like that, but that's just what people like to see. Yeah. I don't think nobody's seeing Nicki either. Like I said, she's a lyrical genius. Nobody's seeing her when it comes to what she does. She's been practicing and doing it for so long. You can't just bring no bitch in, put her in the microwave for 30 minutes and put her out on the front and sit her next to Nicki and think she's going to be able to compete. It's not working like that. That's why people started to level and balance back out with the her and Cardi situation. I feel like Cardi do got real fans, but Nicki still got fans. Get in the cage. What's up, Catnap? Yep. And that's why Cardi held that album for so long. She knew what she was doing. She had to make sure she was able to play some type of game to get her album to surpass Nicki's album, and her album is going to have to surpass Lauryn Hill's album too. This album that Cardi B drops is going to be a diamond album, just like the last album. Cardi B's album is not finished yet, however. Cardi B is still working on that album till this day. She's still, if something hot comes out now, she's going to switch it out. That's why she's doing what she's doing. She needed enough time to basically get shit together. Cardi B's still working on that album right now. I don't care what you say. She's still working on that album right the fuck now. Everything got to be perfect. That album is going to be a diamond album. Her album is going to be better than any female album in history. Ever. Watch what I'm telling you. And it's because of the label. Cardi ain't going to make no money from that at all. She won't make a dime from that album. First of all, they still paying on invasion of privacy. I research all that. That album is still they still paying back from that. She's still in debt. So this album is gonna put her in more debt. So basically, she'll never really see any money from that. I'm pretty sure she probably get advances and stuff. I don't really know how that works. We're talking about music and Nicki Minaj and this little shit that's going on with the Jay-Z people. Yeah, but I don't know. And I think Beyonce is going to be on the Cardi B album. Beyonce, because that's the type of stuff Beyonce do. She don't respond going on the internet. She dirty. The most famous people are evil. It's a game. I'm pretty sure they probably be the ones Deseret and them swatting Nicki Minaj's house and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that they be doing that. What's up, Rashad? I'm pretty sure that they be doing that, y'all. Swatting that lady house and shit. We talking about gossip now. We talking about Nicki Minaj going off on Jay-Z and Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B. I really didn't see her say anything to Cardi B, so I can't even say that she said something to Cardi B. I'm going off the headlines. I seen her say something about Meg. I seen her say exactly Jay-Z's name a couple of times. And Deseret, whoever Deseret is. I think her name is. I told y'all Diddy ain't do it. Don't come in here playing Rashad. Diddy definitely did it. Just because he got off by the jury don't mean Diddy didn't do it. He did do it. I mean, they proved that he did it. It just wasn't a RICO case. It just wasn't forced. But he did everything that they said he did. He really did. I'm not trying to be funny. Because I don't care if Diddy did it or not. But he did everything they said. They proved he did everything he said. He held that girl over the balcony by her fucking yitties. He hired the Smex workers and all that. But it was consensual. I agree with that. Free Diddy. If Diddy gonna go back to his family, let him go to his family. Keep him or free him, whatever y'all want to do. Yep. Everything was seeming to be consensual. Still, I do still feel like keep this in mind though. I'm gonna say this and I don't want nobody to think I'm biased. I do still feel like in a relationship sometimes you can manipulate your partner to go into different spaces they never usually would go into. I do feel like that. And I do feel like Cassie was a little manipulated into that lifestyle. I don't feel like just because she was a hoe that she would have been doing all that type of stuff had she not been with Diddy. Even the other girl, she might have been willing to sell a little pussy to Diddy to get her a place to stay or something like that, to live that lifestyle. I still don't feel like she wanted to be getting loaded up by all the men while Diddy was there. She could have just did that on her own. She didn't need a boyfriend to do that. Why would she need him to host it? You know what I'm saying? She could have just did that on her own if she liked that. That's true. That's true, Rashad. But I feel like if she wanted to do all that, she could have just did it on her own. They were doing that because they really probably liked him at first. And then, yeah, money was coming with it. But come on. As a nigga, Rashad, we men. We know how we are. Be realistic. Come on. I'm a man. So that's I'm just being real. Come on. You get to talking and shit. You know, you in the moment. Diddy just saying shit. Don't even know what he's saying. Promising that bitch shit. Doing all that. And then, you know, she get the connecting feelings, really thinking he for real. He just trying to get his nut off because he probably got a power rush. And this hoe getting played into doing all type of freaky shit. You know what I'm saying? It is a 50-50 thing. Now, she did. It was consensual. And I feel like Cassie did like it at a certain point. You know, she was doing that shit even by herself. But she didn't want that shit all the time. Come on. Who finna want to just suck dick with souls in their mouth? Go in the cage. Even hoes, I'm pretty sure even hoes be like, I gotta take a day off. Go in the cage. Well, they probably don't. They probably keep going. Go in the cage. I don't know about that life. She was with him for 12 years. But think about all the other stuff they said too. I'm not saying she right. I'm not saying he wrong. But I'm still taking into account that things could have still been, you know, shaky. All of the times where it's shaking. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Do Smex workers take a day off or do they just keep going? Hey, Anna. Thank you so much for subscribing. Yeah, that's something that I would actually like to know. R. Kelly? You know, now R. Kelly's case was very, very tricky because it was a lot of underage women. That's why a lot of people easily cut him off, you know what I'm saying? At least P. Diddy was with grown women, but R. Kelly had a lot of underage female, and R. Kelly just had a different type of case, you know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, R. Kelly cannot read. He cannot read or write. So it was easy for them to dead him enough. Diddy basically led his own case. They both wrong, yeah, but Diddy basically led his own case. Diddy was the lawyer. Diddy's lawyers did what Diddy told them to do. Pay attention to all the blogs. Diddy was taking over his case. He passed notes in the courtroom. Diddy took control of his own life. Diddy is a smart man. He first started with people like me and you. He got the public opinion on his side first. Then he knew exactly what information that people needed to hear and that the jury needed to hear to make the decision that he needed to happen. Diddy is smart. Now, if his lawyers are good enough to get him for 2 years and he's already served a year, Diddy will be walking. If they're able to get him charged for 2 years, Diddy will be walking. Yeah, Diddy knew. Now, R. Kelly, he can't read. He can't write. R. Kelly couldn't even read or write music. R. Kelly just can hear the fucking sounds. 15 years later, Rashad, I guess you're right. In your own way, in your own thought, from your point of view, what you see could be right. I understand. But, I mean, it is what it is. Shit is crazy. All these celebrities, though, just regular people. Just regular fucking people.
Ranger knows that you're a lineman in charge of keeping the lights on. You go to great length.
It's Nolan. Now, before we get
Everybody talking about Nicki Minaj.
with, fact checked anything that she was saying, I was just really running through her tweets. So today I'm gonna do a video and just kind of
Everybody talking about Nicki
look at what
Minaj.
she said,
Everybody.
try to get some understanding as to
I added
what
you on IG.
her actual issue is with Jay-Z. Is it strictly
I be twerking on my
monetary?
IG though, Rashard.
Making
So if you
it
see
sound
me
like
twerking in my booty
Roc
shorts,
Nation,
don't get mad.
something deeper,
I'm
I
fucking
don't
with you,
know.
bro. You
But
would
we're
never
gonna
see
at least
that.
address the claims that she's put out there with a little bit more, precision today, I guess you could say.
I just made a
Before I
tweet
get
moving
into that,
today.
Make sure that y'all vote for your boy, you know what I'm saying, on the Global Citizen Contest.
You follow him,
All
Precious?
you gotta do is hit the link in the description, hit the free vote option, do not pay them any money. It will allow you to vote once per day. And
No, I
that is
didn't.
to, potentially
I don't add
be
people on
stage
Instagram.
For the Global Citizen Festival in New York next month.
Maybe I'll make an
We're currently
Instagram
in
just for
seventh
y'all.
place, so we trying to get back up to the top, all right?
I didn't follow y'all. I don't follow nobody on Instagram. I appreciate just talking to you here.
And new information tonight on a bus crash in the Antelope Valley that sent 15 people to the hospital.
KTON News assignment editor Mike Rogers is at the desk, and Mike, you just spoke with CHP on this.
Yeah, one of the
All I do is lie.
They're trying to figure out exactly what caused this crash, but they do know, because they've reviewed video from inside of the bus, that some sort of object flew through the window. Now, I want to show you video here from yesterday. Skycal was overhead. This is in a very remote part of the Antelope Valley. You can see really nothing around
So
it.
what do y'all think is gonna happen going forward? Do y'all think Megan Thee Stallion is gonna say something to Nicki Minaj? Do y'all think she's gonna drop a track or something in the next couple of days? Like, cause Friday is almost here. Do y'all think Nicki Minaj is gonna say something else? What do y'all think? Precious, watch out for a nigga like that. Nigga said I followed you. Leave me alone, y'all. Please leave me alone. So yeah, y'all. I'm high now.
About the haters, right? That we're planning to come out only for the defense. Now, first of all, let me ask you a question. And this is reporters, this is media, and this is also YouTubers.
We
right?
know what Get on Your Good Foot going to do. Miss Get on Your Good Foot, Nikki. Miss Get up on your good foot. Lie to your dead mama. Lie to your dead mama. Lie to your dead mama. What happened to the title? Let's watch this video. Jay-Z's knockout Spotify failure. Ooh. Y'all ever be so high you just gotta breathe? You ever be so high you just gotta breathe? I can't believe I did this. Lord, when you bring me back down, I'll never get this high again.
Get great deals on our tires at Firestone with our
You want to be that high?
competitive price matching. Call and book today.
Can you see that ball?
2015, the streaming service Tidal was bought, revamped, and launched by the famous rapper and entrepreneur
Yeah, higher.
Jay-Z.
There's something in there.
He said that the whole objective of this service was to pay artists more, making it possible for more artists to live off of their music, which in theory sounds great. But if we fast forward to now, a decade later, Tidal hasn't really achieved too many of its revolutionary promises. They actually had some pretty big marketing fails, a few lies, and some major controversies that achieved the opposite.
wonder why
And
they
to
do
understand why Jay-Z's streaming service failed and what it was even supposed to be, we gotta go back to the beginning. Before Jay-Z was even involved with Tidal, it was a company branching off from another streaming service called Wimp. They launched in Norway in 2010 and were available in other countries like like Sweden, Denmark, Germany, and Poland. 4 years later, they were launched in the UK, the United States, and Canada. They also partnered with Sonos for this launch for integration, which honestly was a big play, as I know a lot of people who love Sonos speakers. On top of Sonos, they were working with 15 other home
They should have worked with
manufacturers.
Amazon.
And after being launched in the United States, Jay-Z decided to get involved. First, he purchased Tidal for $56 million. Then he announced his plans. There were a few main things that Tidal planned to do to set themselves apart from streaming services like Spotify and soon to be Apple Music. By the way, around this time, Apple Music I don't think was fully out, but when they launched, they did this thing where they would give you 3 free months if you signed up, and it was already on everyone's phones because of iPhone, Apple product, and that's how they hooked me, and I just thought that was an interesting way of marketing because they did a great job at it, to be honest. And immediately they were right up there with Spotify. So Tidal had some really big competition. Regardless, Tidal's main selling point was that they were going to be artist-owned. They wanted to prioritize the artists and get true fans of music to support them in supporting their favorite artists, sort of like those people who use BandLab and stuff like that. Jay-Z said, "The challenge is to get everyone to respect music again, to recognize its value. Water is free. Music is $6. But no one wants to pay for music. You should drink free water from the tap. It's a beautiful thing. And if you want to hear the most beautiful song, then support the artist." Their plan was to pay out artists at a higher amount of money than the other streaming services were. If you didn't know, major streaming services are notorious for not really paying their artists that much. Spotify, for example, pays out 0.003 to 0.005 cents USD.
Jay-Z owed me $200 million too.
He owe Usher some money. David Guetta, Rihanna, Kanye.
This is great if you're a big artist like Drake that gets millions and millions of streams on every track, but that simply isn't the case for the majority of artists. For example, I'm a big fan of this band called Origami Angel, and based on their average monthly listeners of 350,000, they're only getting like $1,400 a month off of Spotify, which most definitely is not livable. Tidal, however, has been reported to pay out 0.0125 to 0.014 cents per stream, which if you had 1 million streams would bring in $13,000. Or if you were the band I just mentioned, you'd be making like $4,500. So it's definitely a big improvement on Tidal. Jay-Z said, "Everyone knows that the pay system is unfair to artists. Everywhere else, everyone gets compensated for their work. Music is everywhere. You consume it every day, everywhere you go. The content creator should be compensated. It's only fair." But how does Tidal even able to pay out all this money? Well, another one of Tidal's main selling points and possibly pain points at the time was that there was no free version. There were only 2 paid options available. The first subscription plan was the premium option, which is fairly standard at $10 a month with access to pretty much what Spotify had at the time. The second plan was called Hi-Fi, which was $20 a month with lossless high-fidelity sound quality, Sony 360 Reality Audio, Dolby Atmos music, and everything else you got with the regular plan. So basically it's $10 a month extra, but you're supporting the artist more and getting better quality. The subscription plan for the true fan. And honestly, on paper, all of this sounded great. It might not have had a super wide appeal for the general listening audience, but if you're super into music and would love to support artists more and listen to higher quality music for what was basically an extra $10 a month, would definitely be interested. And although $20 a month is quite steep, I can see where we're going. However, despite how promising Tidal seemed to be, immediately they ran into a few problems. Right off the rip, Jay-Z bought Tidal and did this press conference thing to announce it, where he got a bunch of celebrities to back it up. They had Beyonce, Rihanna, Kanye, Jack White, Arcade Fire, Usher, Nicki Minaj, Coldplay, Alicia Keys, Calvin Harris, Daft Punk, Deadmau5, Jason Aldean, J. Cole, and Madonna. All of these artists were backing the brand, but when they did their press conference, it was pretty awkward.
Wow! I know all of us right here, up here, are saying, wow, a couple of times about this being a graduation. Well, that is feeling like a graduation, a little bit like dun, 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 dun.
I spoke to a lot of people outside of the industry, and everyone was like, what? So long. Like this thing was the thing that everyone wanted, and everyone paid.
Didn't work.
It's the thing that everyone wanted, and everyone paid. Everyone. If these artists can sit in a room together, it's a game changer. And it happens today.
The press conference came off more as a bunch of super wealthy artists complaining that they weren't making enough money from their music, rather than it being a platform for small artists. And it probably wasn't the best idea to have some of the biggest artists in the world representing a platform where the whole objective is to get small artists able to live off of their music.
When we put our heads together, us collectively working together, combining all of our resources and owning our oil and giving people a higher level of product from a production visual standpoint, I just thought about like how crazy this is, how this is like.
It was smart, bro.
I think it also would have been better if they didn't act like they were changing the world. Sure, it's a super cool thing what they were doing, but it wasn't really like revolutionary, and it just seemed over dramatic. They also all went up there and signed some piece of paper like it was the founding fathers signing the Declaration of Independence. And then Madonna got up there all extra and signed it with her leg on the table, and it was just a weird situation. On top of that, there were a bunch of these artists that were also posting hashtag Title for All, advertising it on Twitter. Many fans said that this was just an overall super cringy and Illuminati-esque launching ceremony. Even the lead singer for Death Cab for Cutie, Ben Gibbard, said, Title is going to fail miserably. He said that if he were Jay-Z, he would have featured underpaid independent musicians in order to highlight how Title will better pay its artists versus competitive services like Spotify. He continued, I think they totally blew it by bringing out a bunch of millionaires and billionaires and propping them up on stage and then having them all complain about not being paid. Regardless, Title launched, and it wasn't doing anything too crazy. They had about like 500,000 paying subscribers around that time. And one of the main reasons simply is because your average listener doesn't care enough to pay $20 for high quality audio when Spotify is $10 cheaper.
And as funny as it is, but also admirable that they want to try to do this CE quality audio thing on this platform, people don't really care. People don't. They do not care. I mean, me personally, I care about audio quality. There are some other people who watch the show, people I've talked to online who are music buffs that care about audio quality, but your average person doesn't really care about whether or not they're listening to the new Nicki Minaj single or the new Rihanna single or the new Deadmau5 single in MP3, WAV, or FLAC. Don't get me wrong, there are some people who do care, but your average music listener can't tell the difference, and they don't care.
Jay actually tried to argue against this line of thinking in interviews, suggesting that plenty of people care about audio quality.
Now, let's talk about Tidal. This is your music service. You put together this unbelievable lineup of partners, some of the biggest names in all of music. And how is this different from the other music services?
I mean, it's better. Better sound is better everything.
The sound is a big thing, right?
I mean, they want people to believe that you don't care about sound and quality. They want you to believe that. Like, we don't care if it's hi-fi or not, but people spend hours and months in studios mixing their sound and, like, really crafting the sound that they want, people to hear. And, they pretend as if we don't care about it.
And no disrespect to Jay-Z, but it felt like he was kind of trying to manipulate the listeners. Like he was saying, hey, they say you don't care about audio quality, but trust me, you do care. It just seemed weird. And on top of that, Jay also went on the offensive in a freestyle rap saying,
Ain't open the safety check. You came around a crazy check. I feel like you two is the biggest culprit. The next day you will tip for what you're supposed to get. You know niggas die for equal pay, right? You know when I work, I ain't slave, right? You know I ain't shucking and jiving and high-fiving. You know this ain't back in the days, right?
But again, most people weren't happy with the top comment on this video being, aw, poor Jay-Z doesn't get enough money on Spotify. It seemed like Tidal had some holes that people were poking, and Jay-Z was constantly arguing on Twitter, interviews, and anywhere else about how great Tidal was going to be. Tidal also had this random controversy when they accidentally reactivated former users' accounts, and these users got charged. Of course, these people got refunded, but it was upsetting nonetheless. Make sure to keep this incident in mind going forward. Regardless of how Tidal was doing, they tried some more marketing moves to get people on their platform, with one of the more controversial ones being big artists exclusively releasing their albums on the platform. They started out with some exclusive videos from Beyonce, Madonna, and Rihanna, then another exclusive track from Nicki Minaj. But they really upped the ante in 2016 when they released Rihanna's album Anti as a one-week exclusive stream on the platform. Tidal followed that up by releasing Kanye's The Life of Pablo, Beyonce's Lemonade, and Jay-Z's
Feeling Myself was only on Tidal?
all exclusively on Tidal. Kanye even said that
Feeling
my
Myself was
album
only
will
on
never,
Tidal?
never be on Apple, and it will never be for
Apparently
sale.
he wanted the
You can only
pink
get it
one on there
Tidal.
too.
And for a
I'm
brief
glad
period
it's
of
not
time,
on
the
there.
strategy worked. They got a ton of downloads,
Yeah,
a
at the
bunch of
time
new
that
users, and even rose to
it
number
was
16
only
in
on
the App
there.
Store. Here's a cool graph showing how helpful it was for them with the exclusive releases. And it makes sense. I mean, if you think about these albums, they are huge albums. It's hard to think that these were exclusively released for a period of time. But especially once Kanye's album was released, that's when things started to go south. On the first day of The Life of Pablo's release,
This is so much fun. Shop your holiday favorites 24/7 on the Christmas in July channel, only on QVC's free TV streaming service, QVC Plus and HSN.
Certify the album as gold if those were official sales. Of course, sales and streams are different, so it probably wouldn't have been gold off that, but you get what I'm saying. And this is when shit started to hit the fan for Tidal. At first, Tidal never reported this album's streaming numbers, which isn't that great of a sign. For an album to chart on Billboard, you need to report these numbers to some random company that keeps track. And Tidal never revealed these numbers for like 6 weeks, likely because it would have had a poor debut on the charts, and Kanye definitely can't, with his pride, let himself be looking like a loser. That's what he wouldn't allow that. But then they said eventually that in the first 10 days, The Life of Pablo was streamed 250 million times and that they had 3 million subscribers. That sounds great, but then people immediately accused them of fudging the numbers. If you do the math, that would have meant that each subscriber would have had to listen to the album 8 times a day, every day for those 10 days, which seemed a little unrealistic. Eventually, all these albums I mentioned went live on other platforms, and when The Life of Pablo went live on other streaming services and Tidal reported the numbers, that's when Kanye was actually able to debut at #1. Tidal also made some claims that year, like saying that Beyonce's Lemonade was streamed 306 million times in its first 15 days. These giant numbers prompted a Norwegian newspaper called Dagens Næringsliv, or just Today's Business in English, to investigate Tidal. One of the first things they alleged in their investigation was that Tidal was intentionally gradually resubscribing people. They had access to internal reports that showed the subscribers jumping up, but the streams were staying relatively the same. Today's Business claimed that despite Jay-Z saying they had 1 million people on Tidal in September of 2015, they only had 350,000 paying subscribers, according to these internal reports. Then, after the release of The Life of Pablo by Kanye, and them claiming that they had 3 million members in March of 2016, the internal report said that they only had 1.2 million active accounts and 850,000 paying customers, which is not quite the 3 million subscribers that they boasted. The investigation alleged even shadier things, but basically they proved that Tidal was fudging the numbers. Jay-Z claimed it actually sued the previous owners of Tidal, saying that they were the ones who inflated the numbers before we bought it. Regardless of who did it, it happened. And the fake reports did not stop there. Like I said, they claimed that Beyonce's Lemonade was streamed 306 million times in the first 15 days. But Today's Business discovered that Tidal had faked the streams using other people's accounts. They found internal logs from Tidal, apparently from some hard drive, that showed people listening to the album 180 times in one day. The logs also showed that the songs were regularly playing at 6-minute intervals. They interviewed a bunch of these people who had apparently streamed it tons of times, and they all claim that this never happened. They actually have a chart that showed some of the people with their real streams and their fake streams, which is just insane. This also happened with the Life of Pablo album, and they claim it happened to 1.7 million Tidal users. Funnily enough, Tidal actually had to pay out this amount of streams to the record labels for like licensing deals. So basically they were paying these record labels way more than they were supposed to, just to appear as if they were doing better and to keep the business that they had. This would mean though that Tidal is paying out all of this money to Kanye and Beyonce's record labels at the cost of other artists who could have had that money instead. Like I said, Today's Business went so deep into this, a lot deeper than I'm going. Like there were some ex-Israeli intelligence officers and some large-scale coke dealers who were allegedly involved in running Tidal, and they all threatened to sue Today's Business for exposing their lies. Jay-Z even tried to argue against some of these rumors online about them overestimating streams.
You say, okay, we'll put it out for free. We're doing what Spotify does every day. So they count free streams on Spotify. It's 100%. That's a fact premium. Gotcha. It's a fact. It's a fact. In fact, they count it the same as a paid stream. That has to change. That will change. Yeah, I'm sure of that. So many times Tidal is done it. I mean, I work for Tidal, full disclosure, obviously, but you're saying that these were unique situations where normally you don't put records out. We don't put any rate, but if an artist says, I would like my album to go pre-paywall, we put it pre-paywall. It's the same thing as Tidal's. I mean, as Spotify's retail, it's no different.
But none of them were able to prove that the company was not actually faking the stream numbers. Regardless, these reports blew up and destroyed all of Tidal's credibility. At first, Tidal was just scoffed at by the public, but when they were reporting that they had all these streams, people thought it might be a good idea, until they were exposed as faking it. The last expose article I mentioned was released in mid-2018. Tidal pretty much went under the radar. And honestly, aside from the lies, controversies, failed marketing, and higher price point, I think another thing that Tidal had problems with was just messed up UI, especially at launch. Like, they would display different versions of an album, like the Atmos or the Hi-Fi, as well as the explicit and clean, so it could look like this when you're searching for music. Before making this video, I had never personally used Tidal, but another YouTuber who covered this topic described their experience with Tidal's UI as a regular user.
I've actually been using Tidal since mid-2017. because it was the only service that had hi-fi quality, and at the time you could only stream Jay-Z's albums on Tidal. Back in 2017, the user interface...
That's that speaker from that store. How they know I want that? The speaker from that place that we go to get those movies.
That was that?
Yeah.
That looks so small.
It's probably the smaller version, but it was the Marshall.
And the desktop app wasn't very good.
What's the name of it? Marshall, M-A-R-S-H-A-L.
Desktop. I remember sometimes I'd click on the song to play it, and instead of playing, it would just load indefinitely. And you'd have to close down the app and open it again to get it to work. Literally the most basic thing you'd expect from a streaming app, playing songs, didn't always work. Back then, the desktop app looked more like something you'd see during the 2000s, back in the Windows 7 days. But since those bad times, the service has improved a lot. Both the desktop app and the mobile app are a lot more intuitive than they once were, and feel a lot smoother to use in 2020.
So while Tidal may have improved their UI by 2020, it didn't really help that they were basically in a beta phase when launching in 2015. Tidal's launch was undoubtedly a huge dumpster fire. And the years that followed were full of controversies, falsely reported numbers, and even blood and stream, which definitely did not help their case. But it isn't actually all bad. Despite Tidal considerably being a failure, especially with the botched launch, if they can compare the streaming numbers to something like Spotify or Apple Music. For example, Spotify had 263 million paying subscribers in 2024, whereas Tidal is estimated to have somewhere between 250,000 to 750,000. Regardless of this, Tidal does have a very strong, tight-knit fan base who are ride-or-die Tidal users. And recently, Tidal was bought by Square. Square, which is a finance company made by Jack Dorsey, the Twitter co-founder, bought Tidal for $297 million. Which, if you remember, is a lot more than Jay-Z bought it for, the $56 million. So he made quite the profit. And I doubt he cares how well Tidal do it when he just came away with like $200 million. Jack said he loved Jay-Z's vision and was excited to work on Tidal, and Jay-Z still is a shareholder and is involved in the program. Overall, Tidal has massively improved their UI and their platform. They also merged the payment plans into just one, so now it is $10 a month like any other streaming platform. And they still boast better audio quality than most streaming services, and of course they still do pay the artists more. While I've been making this video, I've decided to try out Tidal and actually see what all the fuss is about, because I have found out there are a lot of fans, and I'm not gonna lie, I really do notice that the audio quality is quite a bit better. Of course, this isn't an ad or anything, I'm just trying to give the platform a genuine chance, and I genuinely do think that it's a solid platform, and it's really cool that they pay out artists way more, so especially if you listen to smaller artists, this is a great platform for you. I just think if they hadn't botched the launch and had the poor marketing and scams and controversies and all that, I think it would have gone over a whole lot better. Just a quick update from Future Balls here. I've been using the free trial for a bit, like 2 weeks on Tidal, and I am enjoying the audio quality more. I did remember, however, that Apple Music also has lossless if you want to use that option. Overall, I still prefer Apple Music. I think Tidal has kind of a crappy UI. There is a way for you to move all your playlists over, which is cool, but I have run into the problem of some artists that I like not being on this platform. So really the only thing that stands out about Tidal is that they pay their artists more money, because you can get pretty much everything else on any other service. So while Tidal may have failed when you compare it to other services, as well as consider their data manipulation and other controversies, I do think it turned out to be a solid platform, and I do think if more people used it, it would really help the music industry become a better place. It's just that they were never actually able to get more people to use it and change the music industry like they had planned to. But hopefully Square and Jack Dorsey and everybody else can do something really cool that makes more people use this platform. If you like this video, you might be interested in my video on Beats by Dre and what happened to that brand, as it used to be super popular back in the day, but it's not so much anymore. Other than that though, if you enjoyed, please make sure to leave a like and even consider subscribing down below. And yeah, it's been your boy Matty Balls, and I'll see you guys.
I still see people buying beats.
Balance. Balance. Hold on one second, y'all. Alright, my bad, y'all. I'm trying to, I can't even talk to my nigga. Dog is all over me right now. So shit, I'm just trying to come in here real quick. Ain't no minds in this motherfucker.
Now that ain't no mind, nigga. What the hell is going on with the roots? TT, nigga. Where my other phone at so I can get my notifications, check my notifications out. My bad. But no, the girl just can't stop lying, John. Have y'all been seeing the damn lies coming out with forever? You call yourself a journalist, but yet you don't even do research. That's the weird part about it, man. That's the crazy part about all of it. You call yourself a journalist, but don't do a legal research. Jonathan Oddie is dead. She gave a death date and everything, and deleted the video whenever she found out that she lied. I'm tired of that lying ass girl, man. Then there's a group of female content creators behind the scenes. And somebody hit me up today to my hey, look, I got a message today. Let me read this message here. Let me tell you the crazy shit that these people be saying. Now listen to this. I get a message today. It says, it says, I got some news for you. I wanted to know if you could throw me a little cash out. Trust me, you want to know this. And I was like, be more specific. Then they say, my bad, bro. I lost my brother due to coronavirus. Sorry, I'm just getting back to you. But anyway, it's some cold-blooded ish going on against you. I asked for a little cash out because I have a funeral to go to, which is my brother's funeral. But it's a real plot going on behind the scenes, Ratchet. But you can truly get on top of this plot. And then they give me the cash out and they say, this is my cash out. If you would like to give a little something, I'm not asking for much, just trying to get to my brother's funeral. What do y'all think about this, Ratchet? Sir, only found Ratchet TV.
Exceptional taste. Distinctly smooth.
Sentencing and Rico update. We got Dave Suze Cassie and James Break Salas on the trial fallout. And Puff is, we're going to get into what the last part of this panel is. Puff is, we're going to go to the dots. Salute to everybody in the building. We're already notified. We outside. You know what I'm saying? I'm most definitely about to stop by back and we're making some moves around the scene. Wanted to go check one of our people that's over here too, they're a little close. They're around here. So I said, let me just come over here and update people a little bit, see what's going on with y'all. Hold up, y'all. Gotta put this folder. Do you think Diddy gets time served? Everybody get the lights. Do you think, why this nigga stop in the middle of the road like this? Oh my God, look. Mommy is violent, son. Nigga stop the truck, son. Mommy just walked in the middle of the thing, so the truck stopped right here. Yesterday on live, we seen a damn accident right here. Out of all the speeding cars, yesterday was the first accident. Straight. They stopped short. Some Asian people stopped short on board. Boom, son. Asian people, and then there was a car full of some black kids, bro. They was tight, like, oh my God. I'd have been double back, but spun up from there. But again, I mean, they was under the court. The Asian person, as soon as they jumped out of the car, they took the picture of their shit. The registration and all that. Bang, one time. They said, why you not moving over? You stay here. Yo, Asian people serious, bro. And they mad thugged out. Like the old Chinese people, bro. They be mad thugged out. You trying to tell them, I'm like, hold up. Don't come. Why you mean? Yo, they be innocent, son. Salute them. Salute to everybody. Hold up. We don't get my other phone at the moment. Shout out to y'all, though. Listen, though, this is what we dealing with. Sentencing date has been confirmed. Judge Ron Submarinian has set to October 3rd, 2025, as Diddy sentencing hearing for his convictions of 2 counts of transportation of tuitions. Transportation of tuitions. A brief pre-sentencing teleconference on July 8th was when it's planned. Like I said, the thing was only about 1 minute long. The whole damn meeting. We was waiting the whole time for this meeting, and the meeting flew right by us. Straight as soon as it came, it just flew right by. I got the lights up like the boat. We understand that. Efforts for an expedited sentencing in September were dropped. After they did confirm it, they went back to take it back and say, now we're going to leave it back on the 3rd. I thought that even though Diddy's side of the team, the defense team probably would want to move and expedite that out of October, because October being Domestic Violence Awareness Month. You know what I'm saying? It can affect it or it can't affect it. Who knows? But what we do know is that at that time, think about it, on the time of this sentencing, right? People are going to be outside these courts, they're going to be at where they're going to be at, right? Well, we know the other day, during the Diddy trial, a couple of groups that was against violence and speaking up for victims and survivors and stuff like that were popping out. Around the time of his sentencing, you can bet your bottom dollar that those same groups are going to pop out. But other groups are going to pop out too. We might have 10 groups. We might have more. You know what I'm saying? If you're a group and you're thinking about stopping violence or you're pushing against abuses or abuse, this is the type of platform that you would want to see. Right at the Diddy trial. Everybody got eyes on you. So if you have a cause, you're going to probably bring your cause there because the cause is aligned. There was potential victims in this case, potential survivors in this case, and that's just how these people see it. It's not like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like Mama Flip. Always go back to Mama Flip. I mean, she is not siding with no abusing her. She don't care. She don't care. She don't care. She don't care. And she's sticking to it. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I rock with her too. Besides her being a sweet lady. But she is consistent in who she is. I cannot knock nobody that's consistent who they are. We can talk about stuff. Hopefully we can change each other's minds a little bit. But when someone's consistent, they're not being fake to themselves. This is just how they feel. If their lens is able to change, or their paradigm is able to shift, then they will shift it. You feel me? But Mama Flip is not going. She's not going. She's not jacking. No abuses for me. Don't care. Straight. And you see me. I talk with Mama Flip. I talk with Shy. That's Brown Team BWNCEA. That's subscribe to Brown Team. Makes you need about 50 to start going live. Y'all fellas go over there, y'all support. Ladies, y'all go support too, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Everybody gonna have their own opinions. And I like that. I don't want to have an echo chamber. You know what I'm saying? I don't want my voice to be a voice saying, yo, this, that. Like let's say I was coming to court with like Tisa. And I'm saying, yo, he's guilty. He's about to get a RICO, he's about to do all this, about to do all of that. What you do is create an echo chamber. Where everybody that's in your subscribers, everybody echoes your sentiments. They echo what you think. So that's why I never make it personally about what I think about cases, about anything personally. You know what I'm saying? My own opinion is my own opinion. What I do is give you the facts. I lay out the facts. You know what I'm saying? What they said, the actual transcript, what was transcribed, what the court reporter wrote down.
That's the Tisa
this. Right now. So I'm not going just to write down some parts and some things.
Everybody mad
that's
at
where
Tisa
Charlucci fitting.
That girl doing something right. Everybody speaking on her.
You see the Charlucci shit. That's Charlucci coming to talk with me and gave it.
No, I don't want to watch your channel. Because you have to stick on her.
Rose sparks are built differently than Viagra. Sparks are designed to dissolve under the tongue to hit your bloodstream faster than traditional.
I'm Nancy Grace. This is Smart Stories. Thank you for being with us. Tisa Tells from Tisa Tells on YouTube. Tisa, what happened?
Okay, so what Diddy's team has done the whole trial. Hurry,
Yep.
so they can wait. We were all ready for it. There was a letter they sent saying they wanted it moved up to September 22nd. We were waiting for a legal showdown. In the court, it was all done teleconference. It was all done teleconference. And what's more, Diddy's team agreed to the October 3rd, but they want reports early. And if anything, everybody in the courtroom collectively rolled their eyes. Again, they were in the overflow room and did not let anybody into the courtroom. Everybody collectively rolled their eyes because at the end of the day, this is more legal finagling. And it actually angered a lot of people, even when they heard that news. Why? Because you have to look at it. Diddy's team, at least I believe, they won on technicalities. They won on a trial by ambush. And it looks like for this pre-sentencing report where there's going to be a lot of character witnesses, a lot of character letters wrote to the judge, good and bad, they're once again trying to run the clock off and win by a technicality. The general public wasn't allowed in the main courtroom. Again, this was all done, looked like via a secure Zoom call, okay? We could have literally just phoned this in, but you know, the senators of New York, they don't like anything taped, and you're not allowed to get into the live feed, I guess, unless you're one of the parties joining. However, they were generous enough to let everybody go into the overflow room. That is when they put the Zoom call on the big feed. Again, Mark Agnifilio's comedy show was in full effect. Again, when the screens came on, Mark Agnifilio was like, Sean, is that you? Trying to be funny. Again, what are you performing for? I guess he's performing for his public. He said this was the best clothing he ever did. He is still on a high. He literally said, Sean, is that you? Diddy said, yeah, where are you? He said, oh, I'm in my office. Again, they could have done this off camera, but they wanted everybody to get into the flow. They asked, is the government on? The government was very dry. Yes, we're here. I guess we're still looking for words, okay? And then all of a sudden, the deputy said, beyond the letter, is there anything else? Both parties said no. And they said, okay, meeting's adjourned. Again, when I tell you it was a nothing burger, everybody was on the edge of their seats, waiting for something. When it came to being a nothing burger, it was a giant nothing burger. And then, of course, they released a letter to the public, so we lie in wait to see whatever tricks Diddy's team, and we're sure they have up their sleeves to make sure that Diddy, even with those 2 sex crime convictions, is not held accountable for what he's done.
Philip Dubé, veteran defense attorney, weigh in. Is this what you expected?
Absolutely. Are you kidding? First of all, we're in the dead of summer. And most
I'm not gonna lie,
attorneys
Nancy
will
running
have,
this motherfucking
vacation
show.
plans ready to go. And to suggest that they need all this
It's not
extra
easy
time
to be done.
prepare and to get witnesses into court is actually quite laughable. And we use it oftentimes just to placate the client. You know, patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet. We're going to get you a great sentence. We're going to get you a great outcome. But the truth is, these attorneys are probably thinking about their prepaid, all-inclusive resort getaways that they had scheduled way ahead of time. And the last thing that they need is for a sentencing hearing to get in the way of that, so they have to reschedule, suffer cancellation fees, and Lord knows what else. So my hunch is they need more time because they want to get out of Dodge.
Joining us, Dr. Bethany Marshall, pronounced like an Amazon in the LA jurisdiction. You can see her on Peacock, and she is the author of Deal Breakers on Amazon. You can find her online at drbethanymarshall.com. Dr. Bethany Marshall, what do you make of it?
Well, I do think it's much ado about nothing. I think that when people have nothing to say, they keep shuffling the shells around, right? And this just seems like a big shuffle. What I'm really worried about right now is after the sentencing, if it's too short, what is going to happen with all of the victims? I mean, are the victims even being held in mind? I'm not talking about sex traffic victims from all over the world. I'm talking about Cassie Ventura, Leah, Jane, all these women who are so afraid to go out on the stand and to really tell their truth, risk shame, risk humiliation, and now that Agnifilo is just doing a big big shell game, trying to he's tap dancing, trying to look like he's busier than he really is. I think actually that the die is cast. I think Sabranium has a pretty good idea of what's going on. I think he's going to give him the maximum. I do know, because I'm married to a judge, often they try to split the baby, even if they're disappointed after a jury verdict. They may not like what the jury decided, but they will try to walk a fine line between what they think is a fair sentence and upholding the opinions of the jurors, the American public. But in this case, there are so many victims at risk. That's what worries me the most. I'm sure Lynn could talk more about this, but P. Diddy is a menace to society. He's a true menace. The fact that he was holding a freak off the night that the feds came for him, what does that tell you about his future offending behavior? He's not gonna leave prison chased or remorseful or trying to slow down the party bus. He's gonna be even more galvanized than before. So I just hope this sentencing keeps society as safe as possible for as long as possible.
Joining me is Lynn Shaw, founder and director of Lynn's Warriors, dedicated to ending sex trafficking and exploitation of girls and women. Lynn Shaw, at least the judge sent a message to the victims. What's your response?
Well, first of all, everybody's hitting the nail on the head, but I have to ask, where is the standing ovation for all of these victims that came forward and laid it out, put their lives on the line? Yes, I'm going to say put their lives on the line. This case of one Sean Combs, I refuse to call him Dirty Diddy, as I was referring to him for many weeks, because it's not cute at all anymore. This was bigger than just this case. This was something that all victims and survivors of sexual exploitation, abuse, crimes, it kind of infected all of society. We have spent the exhaustive last couple of weeks unraveling all this with victims, talking them through everything. But I have to say, again,
Celebrity gossip has been an American staple since the birth of Hollywood, but in the 90s and 2000s, exposing celebrities or revealing their darkest secrets to millions of people became a billion-dollar business of its own. Wendy Williams always dreamed of being a cog in the wheel of the Hollywood media machine, and she carefully crafted a formula to build an empire of her own. Wendy understood the public's insatiable curiosity to dive into the personal struggles and scandals of celebrities, realizing that gossip not only humanized stars, but also fueled their cultural relevance. But walking the fine line between entertainment and exploitation came with its own set of risks, which she had to face when confronting Tupac Shakur and the all-powerful Sean Diddy Combs. And after nearly 30 years of dominance, the tables turned, and Wendy herself became the subject of relentless scrutiny with her personal struggles splashed across headlines. She could not adapt to modern times, her show was canceled, and she disappeared from her glamorous gossip empire. However, we would sadly find out that she wasn't necessarily canceled because her fans got tired of her, but rather because she is facing some serious health problems that she may never recover from. To compound these issues, it could all just be a setup by some shady people surrounded by Wendy. They may be over-exaggerating or straight up lying about her alleged dementia to trap her in a conservatorship and steal her multi-million-dollar fortune. This is the wild world of Wendy Williams. Wendy always considered herself the black sheep of her family. Wendy grew up in the late 60s and early 70s as the middle child of a middle-class family in suburban New Jersey. During the heat of the civil rights movement, with cultural tensions at an all-time high, her parents, Shirley and Thomas, obtained a high level of education, sharing a total of 3 master's degrees. My father is always quoting Shakespeare, says Wendy. I call it crazy, but in actuality, it's intellectually just over my head. Wendy felt like she was living in the shadow of her older sister Wanda's flawless academic performance. Wanda was a straight-A law school graduate, and Wendy graduated high school ranking 360th in a class of 363. There were 3 people academically stupider than me. In addition to Wendy being intellectually inferior to her family and friends, she was often bullied for her dark skin and weight.
I learned to have my own inner strength. I had to fake confidence until I actually believed it. And unfortunately, that meant being very introspective and missing out on a lot of the things that kids participated in. Like, I've never been to a prom. I don't know what that's like. I was tall and I was overweight, and I was reminded of that by my siblings and my parents every single day.
My father, the first man who loves you, the first message about my weight is, Wendy, you have such a pretty face. If you just lose some weight, I would get weighed constantly by my mother and father.
Everybody expects to step on the scale and then to lean to one side so that you're unable to do it downward instead of upward.
It might have been making too many mashed potatoes.
However, her parents say that her childhood was totally fine and normal because she never spoke up about her feelings.
Wendy never came home teary. She never came home angry in terms of what's considered what best considered. No. And for some reason, I guess Wendy just internalized and said, you know.
But nor did she fight.
No.
Nor did she fight.
No.
Did she fight back?
No.
Stand up for herself. Oh, please, you know, I'm not bad or I'm not so, or get out of here, leave me alone.
Yes.
She didn't do that.
To escape the harsh realities of not being accepted by her family and peers, Wendy would lock herself in her room, studying the National Enquirer, catching up on celebrity gossip and the latest trends. When she wasn't reading magazines, she'd be playing with transistor radios, dreaming of one day being able to broadcast her voice.
Radio cassette recorder. I used to play the Rogan Recorder, and I would interview my little brother Tommy. He's 3 years younger than me. About anything. So, what'd you have for dinner? Did you like it? What did you do? And then I would play back and listen to myself. I just loved radio. The people who did it, they all sounded like they had such cool, fabulous lives. They talk about the parties they were going to. Donna Summers is coming to town, and they'd be at this restaurant, that restaurant. I said, I want to be cool too. So I knew that when I grew up, I wanted to be either a newscaster or I wanted to be a radio broadcaster.
After high school, Williams attended Northeastern University in hopes of becoming a television anchor. She ended up switching from television communications to radio to advance her career faster. Wendy was young, full of ambition and energy. She would take the train from Boston to Grand Central in New York just to listen to her favorite DJ's broadcasts. In Boston, she secured an internship at KISS 108. However, she was not content just being behind the scenes. In a desperate attempt to secure airtime, she entered the building in rhinestones from head to toe, before storming into the studio while they were in the middle of recording. Wendy wanted to be on air, Maddie Siegel told The New Yorker. I look at interns as people who are going to bring me my coffee, but she, from day one, went, okay, which microphone do I use? Wendy explains, virtually everything in life I have plotted on to get, nothing has happened by fluke. After graduating college, she moved around frequently in an attempt to find a radio station that felt like home and best fit her skill set. Wendy was a hustler, sacrificing time with family and friends to achieve a dream that they didn't really understand.
And I got a weekend gig in New York. So I would do weekdays at WOL in Washington and drive up on Fridays after my shift, which would end at 7 o'clock. And I'd be on all weekend long over in Queens. And then I would drive back to DC. And I would never even stop at my parents' house. Never had time for friends because everybody was kind of not understanding my dream and kind of laughing at me or something, or trying to, you know, my friends were like really immature and stupid and wanting to party and hang out up on a path. And my parents were very, you know, oh, you know, what is this crazy thing you're doing on radio? I would sleep in my Subaru. They gave me a Subaru for college graduation. I would sleep in my car at every rest stop between New York and
Nick.
Washington, D.C. to block
Shut
out
up,
the
bitch.
noise of people. Right. I would literally be, I'd have a blanket.
Why you always in
and
my
a
business,
laptop
bitch?
And
Huh?
a quilt. And I would take a bird bath in the bathroom. I'd be woken up by the man sleeping next to my Subaru looking at me because I'm like the crazy, girl in it. And I had a baby shade without a baby. Pull the baby shade down.
Unfortunately, this lifestyle was eating away at her. To cope with the pressure of working in media and entertainment, Wendy developed a serious cocaine addiction. She was constantly in a haze, which may have initially fueled her animated persona. Her addiction got out of control, sometimes snorting 2 grams of coke
My life is big,
4 days
bitch.
a week. During her shift, Wendy would play an extended track of Noel Pagan's Silent Morning, which gave her just enough time to sneak into the bathroom and get high. One night, Wendy took a hit so hard that it knocked her unconscious. When she regained consciousness, the air had been dead for over 3 minutes. Fortunately, her bosses weren't paying attention, but it wasn't long before they caught on to what she was doing, and ultimately, she was fired. For the first time in her professional life, Wendy hit an all-time low. She went from sleeping in her car to finally achieving a small slice of fame like she had always wanted, and now it felt like her dream was slipping away. But Wendy wasn't going to go down easy. Williams spent her time sending out audition tapes throughout New York City. She briefly worked overnight shifts at WPLJ before finding a permanent position at 98.7 KISS FM. There, she began gossiping about rappers and celebrities during a segment
It's
called
only this
Dish the Dirt, where Wendy, for better or for worse, started to deeply understand the Hollywood gossip engine. And there, she developed a genius formula that would begin her takeover of New York radio. At the start, she would interview low-profile celebrities, creating a symbiotic relationship where she would help the artist reach a mainstream audience in exchange for something scandalous about their personal lives. But it wasn't long before she caught the attention of some heavy hitters in the industry, because without a doubt, Wendy was the show.
I just want to thank everybody for listening, because although you might think I sit up here and dance and everything like that, I'm just a positive person trying to do a positive thing, trying to have a little bit of fun and make my mark in the world. Thank you very much for listening to Kiss. Really.
Wendy, why do you diss people?
Oh, Ralph, let me tell you something. I heard something about you. If you turn off the camera, I'll tell you exactly what it is.
Her off and on drug use combined with her outspoken personality made her extremely unpredictable. It was the kind of thing that captivated listeners. Nobody knew what she was going to say next. According to Vinnie Brown, he dealt with record executives who called up and said, "Hey, your girl is talking about my artist." I can't tell you the amount of times people like Bill Cosby, Puffy, Russell Simmons called me directly, and I just had to let them go off about something that Wendy said, and I'd be smiling without them knowing. And while this may have been good for ratings, sometimes Wendy would take things too far. She seemingly did not care about the legality of her claims, nor did she ever think she would face repercussions for her actions. A recurring segment on her show was discussing what rappers in the industry are on the down low, or hiding their homosexuality from the public.
There were lots of homosexuals in hip-hop back in the 80s, too. That was...
Hey, Zilla, I made my fridge extra fresh.
Bar-ass Freshbacks already came lunch meat fresh. One for now, it's one for later. No upgrades needed. Bar-ass, it's just right.
Fridge was kind of silly now. You looking for a car detailing? Hit up my boy. This guy polished up a vintage car so clean.
If you're human and you know it,
Human and you know it. Human and you know it. What's worse? Hip-hop wearing skirts, or hip-hop being closeted and having a plethora of kids to prove manhood that, and denial of something that you shouldn't have to deny, which is your sexuality. We come from a very homosexual era of hip-hop as well. There was a radio personality once upon a time, her name was Wendy Williams, and she was practically burned at the stake for talking about such. And now it's all come full circle.
She even spread a rumor that Tupac Shakur had been R-worded in prison. Now it's important to understand that very few topics were more taboo in the hip-hop world than homosexuality. Homophobia has always been prevalent in the hip-hop community. Hypermasculinity was a dominant theme in hip-hop culture, and any deviation from traditional notions of masculinity, including homosexuality, was often stigmatized. Suggesting a rapper was gay did more harm to their reputation than you can imagine, and Tupac perceived Wendy's comments as an act of war. Tupac denied the rumor after one of his first interviews after being released from jail.
The media, they make me act like I'm in jail. They report that I'm getting in jail.
I'm sitting here, niggas is dragging up out there, going, wow, when? Why are you taking it over? What's going on? Talking about, I got shit, hey, this is, no, I ain't talking to them, they got that from somebody else.
Tupac recorded a diss track that was released posthumously titled Why You Turn On Me. He rapped, I put Jenny Craig on your fat ass. You fat troll. Anybody ever seen Wendy Williams fat ass? Why you always wearing spandex, you fat bitch? I know your stinks, you fat hoe. I'm putting Jenny Craig on you. Since Wendy had struggled with her body image her whole life, these comments must have stung pretty hard. Yet throughout her 25-year career, she never truly dove deep into how she felt about Tupac's song. But oddly enough, she seems to be grateful for it. In 2012, she told The Hollywood Reporter, without those song mentions, I might not be on TV right now. There is a large segment who may have never heard about me on the radio, but they heard Tupac tell me I needed to go to Jenny Craig, or Mariah Carey tell me that I'm all up in her business. So I love them for that. Some artists even demanded that Wendy be fired for her unapologetic gossip, but the exact opposite happened. Her success at Kiss FM made her a highly valuable asset. Her rise in popularity became so great for the station that she got her own solo shift, which only affirmed Wendy's belief that when it comes to Hollywood, bending the rules is fair game, as long as you become a star yourself. By 1993, Williams was the highest-rated host in her time slot in New York City. That same year, she received a Billboard Radio Award for R&B Major Market Radio Air Personality of the Year. Due to 98.7 Kiss FM's change in ownership, Williams was transferred back to Hot 97, which had become the #1 hip-hop station in the region. She was now an afternoon host on the most culturally relevant radio station in the biggest city in the country.
She was
Wendy
beautiful.
officially cracked the code. She, like many of her listeners, was curious about the lives of the rich and famous. She noticed that the industry encouraged her behavior for the sake of mutual benefit. Gossip humanizes celebrities. It offers glimpses into their personal struggles, which can make them seem more relatable, or at least serve as a source of entertainment. Then again, many celebrities just want a conversation to be around their craft, whether it be music, movies, sports, or other areas of entertainment. What Wendy realized is that the general public doesn't want to talk about the craft. So she essentially spent the rest of her career trying to walk that perfect line of discussing and criticizing celebrities while not damaging her own reputation or putting herself in danger. But luckily, she was prepared for the danger that was coming her way. Wendy met a man named Kevin Hunter at a roller rink in New Jersey. Kevin enticed Wendy because she was looking for a thug. He was the one who protected her, recalled music director Vinnie Brown. She had threats on her life. People were sending dead fish wrapped in newspaper to the radio station. The relationship inspired her to quit cocaine, which, she says in her memoir, she swapped for the fulfillment of romance. Hunter had effectively become her husband, manager, and personal security all at once as she had replaced one addiction with another. It was as if she was addicted to Kevin in a weird way. A former colleague of Williams told the New Yorker, she sort of dropped the drugs and picked up him, and he was just as bad for her. Wendy now had an unimaginable power. She was platformed by a media powerhouse and was being personally protected by a
You gonna feed them
Despite
again?
this, Wendy had finally crossed a line with a celebrity who had much more power than her, Sean Diddy Combs. Wendy knew the best way to rile people up was just make an accusation that a male celebrity was gay, and nobody was safe. She even suggested that her own co-worker, Angie Martinez's boyfriend, Raul Q-Tip, was gay. Angie said, everybody was gay to Wendy. Every rapper you can think of in that era, I had heard Wendy Williams call him gay. Not one or two, like every one of them. When Angie went to confront Wendy, things got physical. I lost my ethnic mind. Before I knew it, I was swinging at her. It was a quick scuffle. It took only a few seconds for me to realize that she wasn't really hitting me back. She was just trying to get me off of her. At the time, Wendy created a website, GoWendy.com. The site featured celebrity photos, rumors, and received up to 100,000 views per day. In April of '97, Williams acquired a photo of Puff Daddy that may have convinced the public that he was gay, and she was letting her listeners know that she was planning on releasing the photo. Puffy's bodyguard, Gene Deal, remembers the photo clearly.
We were in Cancun, and we were on our way to the island of women. And this is all it was. For whatever reason, dude was playing with Puff. He went behind him and grabbed his trunks and pulled him down. When he grabbed his trunks and pulled him down, some girls that was taking pictures. They took that picture and emailed it back to Wendy.
Wendy Williams said she had him in a compromising position, and like he was gay, something like that. And she was gonna put it out. They stopped her from putting it out.
Katie's ex-business partner, Kurt Burrows, also remembers doing everything they could to prevent her from putting out the photo.
Wendy Williams was announcing in her super highly rated afternoon show that she had big news coming. I said, what's going on? He started calling everybody. He was calling me. He got a heads up. He started calling the bosses at Hot 97. The street team was listening. They heard. The executives heard. We instantly all left the office, 19th Street, some in cabs, some in cars, some running all the way down to Hudson Street, where Hot 97 was, to get down there just to handle the situation and make sure that that picture was not exposed to the masses and was not delivered to Wendy Williams.
This scandal was too large to brush under the rug. The station's hands were tied and they suspended Wendy. When she returned from her suspension on air one day, she referred to the girl group Total, who were bad boy signees, as brocos after their comments favoring her suspension. And after she made these comments, the members stayed outside of Hot 97 to confront her.
I remember I got off the air one day and then the Total were downstairs waiting and everybody upstairs at the radio station is looking down, egging it on, waiting for something to go down.
And since Total was signed to Diddy, it makes people think that he was the reason they tried to physically assault her. Ultimately, WQHT, the owners of Hot 97, came to the conclusion that Wendy was a legal liability and they
Who going off on me?
removed Wendy from the air, causing her fans to protest outside of their offices. And in light of recent
I don't
allegations
give
against
a
Diddy,
fuck.
many suggest that he used his powers in the industry to get
Kiss
him
my
fired.
feet,
Charlamagne
bitch.
God seems to think so.
Oh, Wendy whole thing was Diddy was gave first in 90. Oh, Wendy was leaving that out. That's why Wendy got fired by 97. Wendy got fired by 97 by Diddy because that's when Bad Boy was smoking hot. And yeah, she got fired for putting that out there.
This was a major hit for Wendy's turbulent career. She was contractually prohibited from taking another New York radio job for 8 months. So she went over to Philadelphia's Power 99 FM station and signed a $250,000 contract. However, while other broadcasters might interpret this as a sign to maybe slow down, stay quiet, play it safe, Wendy continued forward with the shock jock formula that had made her famous. In 2001, having boosted Power 99's listenership, she ultimately returned to New York to reclaim her throne as the queen of radio during the Wednesday afternoons at WBLS. This show was called The Wendy Williams Experience. And on the show, you got typical Wendy, back like she never left, mouthing off about whatever celebrity drama was permeating throughout the culture. Except this time, fans would often hear their favorite celebrities call the station to confront Wendy on the air. Mariah Carey, Destiny's Child, and even Judge Mathis called up to give Wendy a piece of their mind.
Let's talk about fueling your stuff. You, on the other hand, have admitted to being addicted to cocaine.
Absolutely.
Secondly, you continue to show symptoms of your addiction.
Okay.
And lastly,
What are
I
the
heard you
symptoms?
tell me these nasal passages you keep
Yes.
coughing
And
up.
I did Afrin, and I did Afrin.
Eternal cold that you continue to have.
Yes,
You may have come to work with every other week. Now you even stupid so Lord to blame it on your baby, your newborn. How low can you get? That's about as low as you can get to blame your child for your cocaine addiction. And lastly, your bisexual activity. I'm sure you all always want to know about that. I heard that rumor. Yeah. He watches. Does he watch when you do it?
Yes.
Wow. No, I don't know. I didn't know you were that low down. Lastly, we can continue with what I heard about all those abortions, like 8. You had 8 abortions. That's the rumor.
Okay,
Now you want to keep fueling that? Did you write about that in your book?
I wrote about abortion in my book.
All 8 of them?
Yes.
In 2006, Wendy took things too far when she revealed on her radio show that rapper Method Man's wife, Tamika Smith, had been diagnosed with cancer, despite the fact that the rapper and his wife wanted to keep that information private. Following Williams' on-air revelation, Method Man appeared on The Breakdown, where he called out Wendy for outing his family's private information.
Yeah, I would like to thank Wendy Williams for bringing that to the masses, because she didn't have to go on the radio and say that. I like to keep stuff like that private, but yeah, she was sick.
Freddie is creating a safe space for HIV prevention. Apply for free PrEP at GoFreddie.com.
Bronze Smart IPL. Enjoy 2 years free from hair and hair removal.
But it was like, then that's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up, man. I know all of us go through it, you know.
I be feeling like, yo, that ain't nobody in business right there, yo. I'm sorry. That's just how I feel about it. That's her business. She
Can you give me them grapes out that
know
freezer?
about it. You know what I'm saying? And I respect it.
They in the freezer up there.
So, for the media to bring that
Huh?
information out there like that, I think that shit is mad tacky and disrespectful. Wendy Williams did it. You know, I ain't her. She's the one that did it. We still live in our same community where we used to live at. The people that live around didn't know she was sick. She said that she
But perhaps the most memorable argument from this era was when she went back and forth with Whitney Houston. In 2003, Whitney Houston's label approached the station for her album promotion. However, Whitney's team changed their minds after learning that Wendy would be the one conducting the interview, mainly because of Williams' past coverage of Houston. In an odd turn of events, Whitney called the station directly.
When your husband was incarcerated for those few days, what types of things do you tell her concerning, like, do you say, like, that is the way everything was?
She's a child who has intelligence.
Okay.
My child is smart.
No, where
I talk, shush your mouth. I talk to her like she's an intelligent human being, okay? And I give her just as much as she can handle for a 9-year-old because I'm her mother, okay? And that's how we deal with it. Never mind what I tell her, but she doesn't deal.
Well, a lot of parents whose spouse or what have you goes through something, particularly because it was only 8 days, would have either taken them out of school for the 8 days or taken them away from watching TV and, seeing headlines.
I do protect my daughter, Wendy, just like you do protect yourself, okay? All right.
You are very defensive, Whitney.
I have to be, Wendy. You talk about me every day.
Well, Whitney, you keep yourself in the headline.
No, Wendy, you don't keep me in the headline. I'm my business. I try to maintain what I got. I want to know what I'm doing all the time. I don't give a shit about what you're doing all the time. As long as you don't be a guy that's you and you're doing the right thing and be a decent person, I can tell that.
This clip perfectly exemplifies the Wendy Williams formula. Bring up a bunch of alleged rumors, scandals, or controversies in a passive-aggressive tone, then when the person gets offended, which is extremely normal, accuse them of overreacting. This is textbook gaslighting. The only difference is, this time, Whitney was not giving in, and was able to debunk every one of Wendy's arguments. And while you may think that Wendy might have felt embarrassed by her behavior or some sort of shame, she felt the exact opposite. In fact, this interview was conducted off-air. Wendy chose to air it after. I thought the issue was dead, the station manager recalled. The next thing I know, Wendy is running down the hallway telling me, "Boss, you ain't gonna believe what I got on tape." This interaction is another example of Wendy realizing that all of this chaos and drama, even if she is the one who looks bad, is good for business. Ratings are priority number one. Humility, shame, and dignity all come after. But it's hard to blame her when, again, she only kept getting rewarded by the Hollywood machine for this behavior. Wendy got an opportunity to host a made-for-television version of The Wendy Williams Experience, which aired on VH1. She and her co-host, Charlamagne Tha God, were able to broadcast their show to the entire country.
You guys better like to have an extra fun. You didn't administer me.
Lucy, stop it! Denial is a river in Egypt. Your husband is gay. Guys, if you want to stay, there's nothing wrong with it. To each his own when it comes to relationships, Lucy.
Okay, thank you.
Unfortunately, the show was canceled after one season, and it seemed like Wendy's dreams of transitioning from radio to television were looking bleak. However, in 2008, Debmar Mercury approached her and wanted to offer her a job as the host of a new daytime talk show, The Wendy Williams Show.
Wendy Williams Show is set apart from the other shows because I'm giving to Wendy, and I'm not a politics. I'm just a nosy woman from the suburbs of New Jersey, and I want it all.
Fox signed a deal with Debmar Mercury to broadcast the show nationally on their stations. Beginning in July of 2009, BET also acquired cable rights to air the program at night, and in 2010, BET International started airing the show in 54 different countries. The show was an overnight sensation, with 2.4 million daily viewers on average. Wendy alternated daily with Ellen DeGeneres as the #1 female host on daytime TV. While Ellen focused more on feel-good entertainment, comedy, and heartwarming stories, Williams knew what her audience wanted: to discuss celebrities' personal lives, controversies, and scandals.
I just learned that Chris Brown was leaving the airport. His Twitter name is Mechanical Dummy. And he twittered that one of the men around him reminded him of me, Wendy Williams. In other words, he's calling me a man. Well, you know what? At least if I was a man, then I would spend my time bullying other men, perhaps, and not other women. What this young man doesn't understand is that, old Miss Wendy has been around for a while regarding radio. And I've got a huge funny bone. And before I make a joke about anybody else, I can break myself down head to toe and make jokes. A long time ago, many, many moons ago, I made the correlation between my persona and that of a drag queen. So therefore, Chris Brown wasn't saying anything. I tell you what the young junior can do, though. He can go get himself some help and stop beating up women. Because that there is a fact.
Wendy's ability to make the audience feel like they were just chatting with a friend over the juiciest news contributed significantly
You gonna eat
to
some
the
cereal?
show's popularity.
Somebody said in our Hot Topics meeting that he's not aging the way a lot of 40-year-olds age, like he's aging fast. Maybe it's the thin hair, receding hairline, and the beard. I don't know. It doesn't matter. He still gets the girls. Any girls he wants. Not 3 women, 20. And we don't know whether he was going back there and having sex with all of them. Maybe 5 of them were having sex together and he watched. And then maybe they would jump in and then jump out and then take a shower and leave the girls for themselves. Then maybe call in his security guards to take a turn. Like, you just don't know.
Wendy developed her Hot Topics segment, which was essentially an ongoing gossip series where she kept her audience up to date on the latest drama. Some recurring hot topics were Beyonce, Mariah Carey, Taylor Swift, Lindsay Lohan, the royal family, the Kardashians, Ariana Grande, Diddy, and other major A-listers.
Guess who's jealous of Adele? Beyonce. According to In Touch magazine, Beyonce feels overshadowed by Adele. Beyonce and Kim Kardashian have both lost their crowns because it's all about Taylor Swift. So Taylor has officially become the most popular person on Instagram. What I love about this story is that she's become popular without ever having to expose booty cheek, fake thigh gap, cleavage, or any of the above. Like Taylor is the idea that, that Kim has become famous by laying on her back, that Beyonce, while a beautiful and talented girl, everything, well, a lot on her social media is more sexualized. And all Taylor does is expose pictures of her cats.
Throughout the show's meteoric run, Wendy's unfiltered commentary ranged from cheeky references to unhinged takes on extremely dark issues, like when she called R&B singer Trey Songz dreamy while discussing his domestic violence charges.
So Trey Songz was arrested yesterday for allegedly beating up a woman that he was dating. They were at a party, there were a lot of people around who witnessed this.
Then they started making them
He was
compete.
charged with felony domestic assault. Isn't he just so dreamy? I mean, I do believe I heard, and Norman did too, one of our co-hosts over here, when I'm listening in on her, say, be big.
He beat up a woman. Audience gasps in shock. But isn't he so dreamy? Oh my god, yes. Her audience are the primary school kids. Karrueche Tran, Chris Brown's ex-girlfriend, filed a 5-year restraining order against Chris in 1. Brown allegedly texted her, I will beat the shit out of you, and I promise I will make your life hell. Tran claimed in a sworn statement that Brown had previously, quote, punched me in my stomach twice and pushed me down the stairs. But Wendy Williams thought Karrueche had ulterior motives.
We know why Karrueche was with
No upgrades needed. Mares, it's just right.
Girls still look pretty fly, though, right?
You need a professional mover? I got a guy that assembles furniture without the manual.
Apply for it.
We know why Karrueche was with Chris Brown. She claims, that she was with Chris because, nice personality, whatever. She was with Chris because she's a thought who was after the dollar. I mean, this is not exactly a girl who has her own business and her own coins. That's the stupidest question ever to ask a girl of this nature. Like, why is she with a celebrity who's wealthy? Duh.
Wendy was oddly hypocritical in the way that she criticized women for things that she openly struggled with. She criticized Lil' Kim for her botched plastic surgeries when Wendy had multiple plastic surgeries herself. She claimed Ariana Grande was too small to be a real woman due to her height and frame.
She's the size of a baby. She's only 5 feet. It's not like I'm saying that, So she's just a little munchkin. She's probably 80 pounds soaking wet. So first of all, the carrying is not like carrying a fully formed woman. She's 21. She'll forever look 12, which, and I don't mean that in a good way. I mean that in a, it's nice to look younger than you are, but when you look too young and then you're short, she's only like 14, 11. I don't look at her as like a woman, and she will forever be a little girl to me. Even when she hits notes and sings about love, like what do you know about love? It's just, I guess, a stereotype for someone who's like 14, 11, and with big googly eyes.
Williams also called out Beyonce's poor speaking skills and called her uneducated, despite Wendy being bullied by her friends and family as a child for not having the same academic prowess that they had.
She makes all people understand what she says. She, Beyonce can't talk. Yeah, well, Beyonce sounds like she's got a 5th grade education. She can't talk. Excuse me, I just said I'm a fan, but you have to call us spade a spade.
And while Wendy was willing to tone down her outlandish takes and intrusive thoughts while inviting a guest onto her show, she still would apply pressure and ask questions her audience wanted to know.
Game has a song, and in the song you clearly hear him say that he slept with 3 Kardashians. Now, I've got a picture of an array of Kardashians, including the mother. Okay. Have you slept with Khloe?
The celebrity was scheduled for an interview on the Wendy Williams show. They needed to be prepared for Wendy to ask them about their relationship status, substance abuse issues, and feuds, among other gossipy things.
The big thing
I need to be the next Wendy Williams, baby.
I wasn't there for a day.
You weren't there for a day?
I mean, I woke up and told I spent more than a day.
More than a day. Were you high, Lamar?
I think that was God just trying to talk to me. Stop doing whatever I was doing. Because I didn't take any drugs that night.
How many women were you with?
2. And I didn't have sex.
So you didn't do drugs, but by the way, the toxicology report showed that you had cocaine in your system. Real talk.
Okay, but I didn't.
However, much like her time on the radio, Wendy still felt the need to push things over the line for shock value. Like the time she was fishing for gossip from Lindsay Lohan while her entire family was in the live audience.
There's a picture of the tabloids a few years ago. There's a whole bunch of white powder around your feet.
Oh, baby powder. Because you know that your girl, if your shoes are too tight, you either put lotion or baby powder so they slide in easier.
Gotcha.
Ballerinas do it all the time.
Gotcha.
But seriously, in all honesty, if color anything else, who's gonna put it in their shoes?
People who want numb feet. Are you sexually fluid? Do you consider yourself sexually fluid? I remember you had a romantic relationship with Samantha Watson.
No, I like men.
Okay. Well, you liked a girl at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was living in LA.
Or when she was extremely distasteful while asking about the details of Kelly Rowland's abusive relationship.
But what I was shocked about is that you were in an abusive relationship.
I was in a relationship that was so hard on me.
How many years?
It was a long time. Nobody knew about it, of course. Like I said, you'll never know. And in the song, I make that very clear. But even thinking about it is just so crazy. You know what I mean? That I could actually think of a not think even more of myself in that time to get out of it. You know what I mean? And I think that's what is so important about dirty laundry to me, is because I wanted young girls to know if they are in these relationships, they gotta get out.
Like, was he punching you in the head or was it mental abuse?
I'd rather not get into the details of
Okay.
because I don't think that's important. To me, the most important thing was sharing the message,
Yes.
telling young girls that this is real, and letting them
Wendy!
I'm sure you're noticing a pattern here. Celebrities know that Wendy is going to go fishing. They have to do their best to remain calm, collected, professional. Because if
Who
it
was
up to
beating
Wendy,
Kelly Rowland?
It would get messy. You can see this on full display when Tiana was trying to talk about her art, and then Wendy interrupted her to bring up gossip. Tiana had to remain calm and steer the conversation back.
a lot of emotion in
Well,
that dance. A lot of
she had a best friend who slept with her man, okay? And now let's break it down. Are you still friends with her? Okay. Look, look, only because Tiana, there are a lot of dumb girls who would forgive the friend and stay with. Oh, but I think that's it. Oh, good.
Wendy violated by even bringing up her friend sleeping with her man. Sometimes celebrities have to set the record straight. They will not tolerate Wendy's behavior.
The hell was that? What does that mean?
You're trying to have a nice conversation.
Let's have a conversation.
Oh, no, I know how to chill, but I will not be disrespected. It's not time for you to look for your moment. I invited you here.
Oh, I know how to find my moment.
I am Roseanne. We're going to talk about the book.
All right, well, let's get to it.
50 Cent was one celebrity who was not willing to put up with Wendy's criticism of his parenting. 50 and his son Marquise have had a tumultuous relationship which has been very public. When Marquise turned 21, 50 made a joke post that he would be throwing a child support release party, and Wendy thought that was a low blow.
Oh, please, he is petty spaghetti. No, I don't really think he's throwing a party. I just think he's being petty on social media. And Marquise, I'm sorry that all this is happening for you. Anyway, 50 apologized afterwards, saying he's insensitive because he never met his dad, and his mom was killed when he was 8. 50 is how old now? 40? 42. 42. Too old to be blaming some of his adult behavior on his lack of childhood rearing. You're 42. You got a 21-year-old son. You know, get your life.
Although this seems like moderate criticism, 50 clapped back extra hard. He posted a picture of her in a bikini on Instagram with a caption that read, "Wendy Williams just told me to get my life together." Shaking my head. "Your husband is not a bad man. He deserves a side chick for talking to you. You ugly MF'er. Focus on your own bitch. Oh yeah, we in Club Lust tonight. You're invited, LOL." He made another post on Instagram letting her know that she messed with the wrong one and he would not hold his tongue. But their beef continued a year later when 50 Cent threw a party in New Jersey and Wendy Williams was able to get in. As we saw from the picture she took with Snoop Dogg, apparently she just went to see Snoop and then left to avoid 50. Once the news was given to him that she showed up, he was furious.
I don't know what she was even doing there. Like, I'm not going to Wendy Williams' party.
Would you go to the show?
Yeah, my party, huh? Why she there? She knew I was at that party. Why she going to that party? Snoop was in New York with her. Why she going to see Snoop? Go see him another time, but I'm not there. Come where I'm at. I don't like you. Okay? I don't like you. You said things about me, and now I don't like you. It's been for years.
As we all know, 50 is a master troll, so whenever he felt like being petty, he would just throw up a picture making fun of Wendy. And as Williams' fan base grew, so did the number of people questioning her invasive strategy, believing that Wendy's ego had finally got out of control. While some took the good with the bad and claimed, that's just Wendy, others started to see the Wendy Williams show as sort of a mindless cult that didn't actually think about the things Wendy was saying.
Should she suffer? All right, stop if you think she should suffer. Stop if you've ever wanted to kill somebody.
Even Wendy would say things that genuinely shocked herself, like the time she wished death on Britney Spears' parents.
Dare you, Mr. Spears, you had me fooled. And you too, Mrs. Spears. Death to all of them.
Wendy Williams was hard to read. The moral lines were constantly blurred. Is it hypocrisy, or is she playing both sides for provocation? Does she lack self-awareness, or does she understand that the hate will make the show reach new viewers? Do celebrities actually care about her gossiping about them, or are they just playing the victim? No one can say for sure, but whatever it was, Wendy was getting rewarded for every scandal, and the media engine that she created wasn't slowing down. Unfortunately, her health was going to be a major factor in halting her career. In October of 2017, the Wendy Williams Show held their annual Halloween episode where Wendy came out dressed as the Statue of Liberty. Everything seemed to be going smoothly, but something was a bit off with Wendy, something that didn't match her usual eccentric persona, and suddenly she collapsed on stage.
Our first caress.
As the audience gasped, the show immediately cut to a commercial. When the show returned, Wendy, still in costume, was already back on stage and explained that she fainted from overheating. That was not a stunt, Wendy said. I overheated in my costume and I did pass out, but you know what? I'm a champ and I'm back. A spokesperson from the show told EW that Wendy overheated from her heavy costume, makeup, and the lights. However, Wendy was able to finish the show and would return the following day to film again. And of course, the internet memed this moment into oblivion. However, what seemed like a one-off silly moment was actually a sign of something much scarier.
Did you know you were gonna faint?
Yes. When we came back from the break, then I felt it. It felt like I was in the middle of a fire. It's starting down at my feet, going all the way up. I got very scared because it was...
It takes time.
Indeed.
It takes time to make a diamond.
Got very scared because it was a live show. I was more concerned with...
I got President of the United States. That's the job that I'm going to be working on. I work for Trump now.
The look I gave was part of the stunt. Because I'm always doing tricks. This is the trick show. We're always doing tricks and stuff. Yeah, Halloween. Yeah, so they thought that was a part of something, so nobody came out until I hit the ground. Then, oh my gosh, chaos ensued.
Less than 4 months after she fainted on live television, Williams announced that she would be taking an indefinite hiatus to be treated for Graves' disease, which is an autoimmune disorder that causes the thyroid gland to become overactive, also known as hyperthyroidism. In Graves' disease, the immune system mistakenly attacks the thyroid, a butterfly-shaped gland in the neck that produces hormones regulating metabolism. This attack causes the thyroid to produce excessive hormones, speeding up the body's metabolism. This disease can cause a person to have heart palpitations and tremors, rendering them anxious, irritable, and shaky. In roughly 30% of patients, including Wendy, the disease can inflame the muscles and tissues around the eyes. This would be the accurate explanation behind Wendy's bulging eyes. Wendy's health complications seemed more alarming than she led her audience to believe, but she would return to the Wendy Williams Show after a 3-week hiatus, where she opened up about putting her health first.
21-day hiatus, and this is coming from the woman who told me not that long ago, I don't take days off.
I don't take sick days. In the entire almost 10 years of doing the show, I've never taken a sick day. Really, Amy, it was a perfect storm. A perfect storm that had been brewing, I have to say, internally, knowing my body since late July.
Wendy reassured everyone that she felt 100% better than she had a few months prior, trying to convince her audience that this was just a phase, and to try to forget
I don't got a haircut.
never happened. That wouldn't last long. A year later, Wendy revealed to her audience that she had been staying at a sober living
You being funny.
Caught up in their addiction
I don't got a cut.
and looking for help. They don't know I'm Wendy. They
I
don't
just
care
look
I'm Wendy.
good.
This
Just
is
say
what
you look
residents
good.
of
I know.
It's the brothers and sisters going through the struggle.
I don't got a cut though. You lying.
Because I look so glamorous out here. After I finished my appointment to see my brothers and sisters, and I am driven by my 24-hour sober coach back to a home with a bunch of smelly boys who become my family. They hog the TV and watch soccer. And we talk and read and talk and read, and then I get bored with them. Door locked by 10 p.m. Lights out by 10 p.m.
Lucas, what
So
you
I go to
doing?
my room, and I stare at the ceiling, and I fall asleep to wake up to come back here to see you.
At the end of the segment, Williams provided promoted a 24/7 hotline launched by the Hunter Foundation, which she founded with her husband and son. Wendy said the hotline had already placed 56 people from around the world in recovery centers. Unfortunately, 50 Cent used this as a time to take some shots at her. He posted on Instagram a picture of her looking disheveled with the caption, "I knew something was up with this bitch. It was the drugs. She better not talk about me, then go to rehab every day, crackhead." Unfortunately, Wendy's health wasn't the only aspect of her life seeing a steep decline. By 2018, the same unforgiving attitude from the 90s that many had grown to love no longer appeared to have a place in today's climate. While many characters from the shock jock era aimed to soften their approach, Wendy was Wendy. She just didn't seem to see the writing on the wall. During an episode of The Wendy Williams Show, she addressed the allegations of sexual misconduct against musician R. Kelly, where, in the eyes of many, she seemingly held the victims accountable. After learning the hashtag #MuteRKelly was trending on Twitter as a protest to remove Kelly from the music industry, Williams made her first real critical mistake.
I'm sick of this Me Too movement. You know, I love that people are speaking up for the first time and coming out and everything, but I look at all men like you're a Me Too. All of them, which is not fair.
Wendy said, the multiple allegations of R. Kelly holding women in his home. Where are their parents? Allegedly, the parents are complaining, but where are their parents? It has nothing to do with Me Too. R. Kelly is just a very sick man. She then had the audience clap if they still listened to R. Kelly, which they did. Wendy continued slipping. For the first time in years, her finger wasn't on the pulse of American pop culture. She may have still had the loyalty of her aging fan base, but she didn't seem to have that same awareness she once had, a deep understanding of the latest shifts in public consciousness. The founder of the Me Too movement, Tarana Burke, would express her disappointment in a series of tweets. "I heard what Wendy said yesterday and was disgusted by it. This is why black women and girls are hesitant about coming forward with their Me Too. Wendy Williams, who blames the victim. You really think a 13-year-old girl is to blame for sex with a 30-plus-year-old man? I tried to hold my tongue, but I can't. Yes, Wendy said he was sick, but pivoted to blaming the parents. Focus. He is the predator. Period. How dare you get on national TV and say his victims can't say Me Too?" When asked if Wendy felt her comments were more sympathetic to Kelly than the alleged victims, Williams responded, "I feel like I know things about R. Kelly that he's told me himself that I promised I would keep in confidence," she told the Washington Post. "When I make a promise about keeping something in confidence, I do, and that's that." Wendy just seemed to be digging herself a hole deeper and deeper. As if the timing couldn't be worse, a month later, Wendy had a strange interaction regarding a barely legal Marcus Scribner when she asked the 18-year-old Blackish star about his virginity, but he wouldn't answer.
Are you a virgin?
Wendy, you're trying to hit me with the difficult questions.
Answer?
All right, I'll leave it a mystery for the audience to
Okay.
Then Wendy discovered in 2019 that her husband Kevin had a secret family on the side. Her husband's infidelity had been a point of speculation for years. As her reputation began spiraling down, nobody outside of her fan base really felt sorry for her.
You know, stuff happens in life. Stuff happens, and it's okay. I've still got a very full life that I really adore. Oh my God. I didn't plan on this, but it is what it is. I have got to go eat my food with potato salad and everything, and I gotta get on the plane in the morning, but I have a very full life. Thank you for watching. I would ask you to respect our privacy, but please, I don't respect people's privacy. That's why I do the hot topics. So turnabout is a fair game, but all three of us are doing fine.
Are we gonna see the three of you guys? Together? Maybe not as a married.
Yes, of course you will. Kevin's got to graduate from college. He's going into his sophomore year. He's going to get married or whatever. He's going to celebrate. Yes, everybody's got to grow up.
Maybe see him be happy with his father again.
Yes, you're not apart. I mean, you know, stuff happens in life.
In January of 2020, amid the blockbuster success of Todd Phillips's Joker, Wendy mentioned actor Joaquin Phoenix. She called him oddly attractive before using her finger to pull up a part of her lip to resemble a cleft palate.
When he shaves off his mustache, he's got a hairline fracture. He's got one of those, what do you call it, cleft lip, not cleft palate. He's got this. He's got this. No, I find it to be very attractive.
This angered people around the world, including including Canadian football player Adam Bighill, who has a son born with a cleft lip. After a week of campaigning for Wendy to apologize, including a petition in favor of firing her that garnered over 70,000 signatures, she apologized to Adam Bighill and also made a charitable donation to Operation Smile and the American Cleft Palate Craniofacial Association. But pop star Cher thought this wasn't good enough and demanded that Wendy be fired. Less than a month later, Williams found herself in another controversy after she criticized gay men for wearing skirts and high heels, declaring, "You'll never be the woman that we are, no matter how gay." The comments came during a segment about Galentine's Day, the fake holiday inspired by Parks and Recreation. Wendy apologized, "I did not mean to offend my LGBTQ+ community on yesterday's show. One thing I can tell you right now is that I never do the show in a place of malice. I didn't mean to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm just having a conversation." But yet again, that same week, she made one of the worst decisions of her career while reporting the murder of Drew Carey's ex-fiancée, Amy Harwick. She was discovered beneath the balcony of her Los Angeles home and later passed away at the hospital. At the time, the exact circumstances surrounding her death were unclear, but Harwick was reportedly strangled and thrown from the 3rd floor after a home invasion. Authorities identified the suspect as her ex-boyfriend, Gareth Pershouse. While reporting on this incident, Wendy attempted to make a joke, but this was no laughing matter.
She was killed not by Drew, but by the ex. Come on down!
At this point, people criticizing Wendy's behavior on social media was becoming a repetitive cycle. I'm sorry, she still has a job after this? Really? That's absurd. She's a horrible human. For once, her mindless audience didn't clap. Wendy has made her empire on being a mean girl since the hip-hop radio days. Glad her audience decided to not ride with her on this one. And again, Wendy wasn't exactly known for her empathy reporting on people's deaths.
Melody may have passed away, I think.
She passed away? Oh.
Do what you want. Be who you want. Drones all in. 100%.
Let me guess. You're thinking about going to therapy. And as a therapist myself, of course I'm going to say that's a great idea. But first, let's talk about the things.
All right, MC Light.
In 2021, Williams stepped down from The Wendy Williams Show due to her health complications. She would be replaced by several guest hosts in her absence, including actress and comedian Sherri Shepherd, who took a majority of the hosting duties. In what should have been a temporary solution, alarm bells rang in January 2022 when Variety reported that Wendy, who had not made an on-air appearance in months, wouldn't be returning to The Wendy Williams Show anytime soon. To make matters worse, reports indicated that Shepherd had become a fan favorite, emerging as a frontrunner to potentially take over.
What you doing, Shawnee? I know I'm just sitting here being bored.
Many of Wendy's critics was that
What you doing?
this was karma, a long-awaited cosmic punishment for making a career out of putting others in the hot seat, only to spill their tea in front of millions of people, whether they like it or not. But tensions cooled a little bit when fresh news started coming out about Wendy, about the horrific series of tragedies she was facing in her personal life. Within the same month of stepping down as America's drama queen, reports surfaced that Wells Fargo had frozen her accounts, requesting a New York Supreme Court hearing to determine whether she needed guardianship due to her health conditions. Williams immediately denied the accusations, pointing the finger at her former manager and raving about a Wells Fargo financial advisor for misconduct. Her attorney, LaShawn Thomas, said in a statement, on behalf of Wendy Hunter, professionally known as Wendy Williams, as counsel to her and her affairs, Wendy wants the world to know that she strenuously denies all allegations about her mental health and well-being. In an affidavit filed with the New York Supreme Court, Williams stated, for more than 2 weeks, Wells Fargo has repeatedly denied my request to access my financial assets, which totaled over several million dollars. I have submitted multiple written requests to Wells Fargo, and I have visited various Wells Fargo branches in the South Florida area in an effort to resolve this matter outside of the courtroom. Suddenly, it was Wendy who was in the hot seat, facing speculation and negative attention from the tabloids she once used as a reference to build her empire. In the Despite disputing allegations regarding her deteriorating health, a judge appointed a temporary financial guardian in March of 2022. Wendy's attorney told The Hollywood Reporter if it's the court's intention to have one appointed over her affairs for the long haul, she definitely isn't going to accept that. This all seemed to happen rather fast. Yeah, we knew her physical health may not have been the best over the past few years, but her mental health? And it was apparently so bad that she could not have access to her bank accounts. This seemed to escalate pretty quickly. Fans got even more suspicious when Wendy posted this video to Instagram claiming that her financial advisor, Lori Schiller, was setting her up.
My thing is that I've been asking questions about my money. When I began asking questions about my money, suddenly Lori Schiller has got no response regarding my money. I want my money, it's not there. And Lori Schiller and Wells Fargo have this guardianship petition about keeping away my money. And this guy named Bernie Young, I know for a fact that Bernie Young used my American Express card to hire an attorney to file a petition against me. That was done with my American Express card.
So Wendy alleges that her team, her financial advisor, and her ex-manager, Bernie Young, have essentially staged a coup against her. They were able to convince a judge that she was mentally unstable and couldn't be in charge of her own finances. It's also even more suspicious that she received a court-appointed guardian instead of one of her family members. Now, this usually requires some sort of medical diagnosis or official documentation to prove that she is unfit to take care of herself. But Wendy seems to accuse them of going to an old doctor of hers for medical records that she never received.
And then there's this person, a former doctor had medical information about me that I never even got. It was sent over to Lori Schiller. So I haven't gotten this stuff. I fired the doctor, and again, all I want to know is where is my money? This is not right.
After Wendy spoke out, her financial advisor claims she's a prisoner in her own home and had to hire armed security amid death threats. Around the same time, Debmar Mercury announced that the Wendy Williams Show would end after 14 seasons. They also announced that Sherri Shepherd, who held the mantle in Wendy's absence, would receive a talk show titled Sherri that would take over the time slots held by Williams' show on the Fox-owned and operated stations. But then in September, Wendy's representatives informed media outlets that Williams had entered a wellness facility and intended to start a new project post-recovery. She's taking some time to focus on her health and wellness as she prepares for a major comeback to the next level in her career with the Wendy Experience podcast. Miss Williams is being treated by a team of some of the best doctors in the world. We ask for your prayers and well wishes during this time, but this was merely wishful thinking. Wendy would never again sit as a talk show host, spilling tea, making conspiracy theories about the hottest celebrities. It was all over. In November, Williams returned to the public eye, and her health complications were worse than her team had originally predicted. According to her representatives, Wendy was diagnosed with aphasia and frontotemporal dementia in 2023, and subsequently entered a cognitive facility. And from there, whenever she was spotted in public or clips of her made the rounds on social media, fans just looked at it as sad. A documentary titled Where is Wendy Williams aired on Lifetime in February of 2024. The documentary is a brutally honest portrayal of Williams' life in recent years, showing her memory loss and mood swings along with alcohol abuse. In several scenes, Wendy is shown passed out in bed with an empty bottle of liquor beside her.
Why do you like liquor? Why do you like to drink?
Because I can.
What if you have a drink? What did you have us to have? Or because you're stressed out, or you're bored, or what?
You know, just because I care for it. And I've always been bored.
Dementia is something I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. Regardless of how you feel about her, this is a horrible fate no one deserves. Again, this all happens suspiciously fast. First, she disappears from her show, then she's deemed mentally unfit to manage her finances, and then she has dementia. Even her own son seems unsure if her diagnosis is genetic or alcohol-induced.
They basically said that because she was drinking so much, they were starting to affect her headspace and her brain. So I think they said it was alcohol-induced dementia.
It's also worth mentioning that experts cannot even come close to 100% guaranteeing that frontotemporal dementia is alcohol-induced.
There is no evidence to directly link alcohol and frontotemporal dementia. So about 40% of frontotemporal dementia cases are genetic, and the other 60% of the time, we're not really sure why it happens.
Additionally, Wendy's niece, Alex Finney, did a few interviews suggesting that the documentary that was released that painted Wendy as an alcoholic now suffering from dementia was not 100% accurate.
But yes, as a family, you know that there's more there. People are going to see that throughout the documentary. I think people are going to walk away saying, this is more than what you realized in terms of what we've read, whether it's things that might have seen on her show throughout the years that seemed a little off. People are going to walk away with that and say, what is really going on here with her medically?
This has led to reasonable speculation that Wendy is being set up by leeches who are trying to exaggerate her condition to gain control over and steal from her multi-million-dollar fortune.
What I will say in terms of things that I have seen over the last 2 years, yes, there were definitely people around her that you do question, why are you here? What is your motive? How are you doing this job? Are you getting paid? Because I'm sure you're not doing it for free, right? You know, so there were those questions. And then obviously cognitively with seeing my aunt in the state that she's in, you do wonder, okay, if she did sign off and hire you or whatever the case may be, was she aware of everything?
And this all leads us to where we are today. It's obvious that Wendy has some sort of mental and physical health
Good night,
issues,
Sonny.
but is it as bad as we are being led to believe? Does Wendy actually have dementia? And even if she does, how bad does it need to be where she is not allowed to have access to her money? She was seen recently visiting her son's graduation in a wheelchair surrounded by armed bodyguards. Every time she makes a public appearance, her fans are convinced that she is not as unhealthy or cognitively impaired as the reports claim. Therefore, the question remains unanswered. Who benefits the most from Wendy Williams' demise? Wendy's biggest haters see her story as one of poetic justice. After profiting off spreading rumors, exposing celebrities at their lowest moments, and fueling public judgment, she became subject to the same ruthless scrutiny as her life unraveled. However, anyone with a shred of empathy can look at her current health status as nothing short of a tragedy. Dementia is a heartbreaking illness that deeply affects not only the victim, but their friends and family. We all know celebrities only benefit from gossip. Good news or bad news, all they want is for you to be talking about them, as their entire business model revolves around them being culturally relevant. Plus, Wendy was self-aware. She knew she was nosy and pushy, and when she got criticized, although it probably stung at the time and maybe she got a little bit defensive, she took it on the chin and kept pushing because she knew, well, if I do it to other people, they're going to do it to me. In many ways, Wendy Williams was simply an engineer working for the almighty Hollywood machine. She fought her way up the ranks, understood what people wanted, and gave them exactly what they asked for.
Love those guys, and they know how to have a good time. Now this guy is about to have a really good time. Now she's taking her time having a good time. Come celebrate 20 years of good times at Morongo Casino Resort and Spa. Morongo, good times.
Tonight, breaking news, the president reigniting his trade war with Canada, calling off talks with America's second biggest trade partner. Trump furious after Canada announced a new tax on some American tech companies. The president cutting off trade negotiations and threatening new tariffs. It comes after the two countries slapped each other with tariffs after tariffs, and those threats from Trump to make Canada the 51st state. Also tonight, Trump's big win at the Supreme Court, the 6 conservative justices severely limiting federal judges. What happened next with birthright citizenship, and why one dissenting judge wrote, "No right is safe in the new regime that the court creates." Plus, Gavin Newsom suing Fox News, the California governor taking a page out of President Trump's book, filing a nearly $800 million defamation suit against the conservative outlet. The jury
Set to get the case in the Sean Diddy Combs trial, the rap mogul's defense team in their closing arguments admitting Combs was abusive and a swinger, but not guilty of sex trafficking. The stunning new video tonight, a man setting a fire to a packed subway car in South Korea. Why authorities say he did it. Jeff Bezos says, I do. New images tonight as the billionaire Amazon founder ties the knot in Venice in a star-studded ceremony. And the cover of Vogue featuring the new Mrs. Bezos. And the three amigos, the trio of patients who bonded while waiting for their transplants, what they told us about their new hearts and the friendship they found along the way. And this just in, one of the last two missing inmates in New Orleans captured tonight. Top story starts right now. Good evening. Tonight, the trade war between the U.S. and our neighbors to the north exploding again as President Trump cuts off Canada from trade negotiations. The president pulling the plug on talks after Canada imposed a new tax on American tech companies.
President Trump vowing to expand his trade war, cutting off trade talks with Canada because of a new Canadian tax on American tech companies, calling it a direct and blatant attack on our country.
It's not going to work out well for Canada. They were foolish to do it. And so I said we're going to stop all negotiations with Canada right now until they straighten out their act.
The president said that new tariff on Canada would be announced within a week.
We have all the goods, every single one. We don't do anything bad, but they have, economically, we have such power over Canada. I'd rather not use it.
Canada is the second largest U.S. trading partner. Its prime minister responding to the president's latest move late today.
We'll continue to conduct these complex negotiations in the best interest of Canadians. This negotiation.
The president today, in a wide-ranging news conference, also slammed the Iran Supreme Leader for his first public comments since the U.S. airstrikes on the country's nuclear program, insisting the U.S. achieved nothing.
You're a man of great faith, a man who's highly respected in this country. You have to tell the truth. He got beat to hell. And Israel was beat up too.
While Iran's foreign minister today acknowledging U.S. airstrikes have inflicted significant and serious damage to its nuclear sites. President Trump was also asked if Iran tried to enrich uranium.
What up, Big Pop?
Would you consider bombing the country again?
How your day?
Kate Gutierrez joins us tonight from the White House.
I feel like I talk to the same people every day, and I'm happy.
Not stopping from Wall Street as some 401ks from reaching record highs today.
Yeah, that's right, Tom. The S&P 500 closed at a new record high. The tech-heavy NASDAQ also just hit a new all-time high, despite all that trade uncertainty. Today, the Treasury Secretary also signaled the administration could
They've been good. Very, very good.
July 9th deadline for more trade.
I'm sleepy.
All right, Kate Gutierrez.
My day been
down
good.
at Capitol Hill in the battle over that quote big beautiful bill. President Trump working the phones, making one final push, even delaying a scheduled trip to Bedminster, all in an effort to get it over the finish line by July 4th. NBC's Ryan Nobles has more.
Tonight, new battle lines over what President Trump calls his big beautiful bill. It seems like there's a lot of thorny issues that you've got to work through.
This is called, what I think you guys have said, making a sausage.
Yeah.
So we're making a sausage right now.
President Trump making a last-minute sales pitch for this massive bill that delivers on a slew of his campaign promises.
It's a great bill. It's a massive tax cut.
From a $4.5 trillion extension of the Trump tax cuts to hundreds of billions of dollars in funding for his mass deportation plan, plus eliminating taxes on tips and overtime.
I am your family now.
It's a popular bill, but will get no Democrats only because they don't vote for Trump. They have Trump derangement syndrome at levels never seen before.
Democrats slamming the Republican bill's cuts to social programs like food stamps and Medicaid, including imposing work requirements for those benefits. The Democrats say that hurts vulnerable people.
Of course Americans hate this bill. It steals their Medicaid. It jacks up their premiums.
But tonight, it's Republicans that cannot get on the same page. North Carolina's Tom Tillman's concerned about the impacts on rural hospitals.
We're moving and trying to make changes.
Wisconsin's Ron Johnson telling us the bill does not cut enough spending.
Is there any one particular thing that you're still fighting for at this point?
President Trump said he wanted the Senate to make the bill better. I'd like to make it much better.
Whenever the Senate passes, must once again pass the House.
Go live on your page, Rashad.
Mike Johnson.
Could they be surprised by what the Senate sent them back?
Well, look, I haven't slept maybe 6 hours this week because I'm on the phone all the time with members.
All right,
right, Ryan Noble joins us tonight from Capitol Hill. So, Ryan, we saw you out there working all those senators and representatives. When are Republicans hoping to get a vote on this?
Well, they are meeting behind closed doors right now, Tom, and I can tell you that they are optimistic they could begin the process of voting as soon as tomorrow. President Trump left open the possibility that they could extend that July 4th deadline, but most of these lawmakers want this done before the holiday. Tom.
All right, Ryan Noble from the
'Cause I said so.
We appreciate that. That are other big
Don't ask me no
headlines
questions.
tonight.
Just do it.
Majority of justices delivering that major victory to the Trump administration, limiting the ability of lower court judges to put the brakes on his executive orders nationwide. The ruling as Trump's order on automatic birthright citizenship continues to work through the courts. NBC's Laura Jarrett has this one.
Tonight, a sweeping victory for the president in his battle with federal judges who blocked key portions of his agenda.
This was a big decision. Amazing decision.
The justices in a 6-3 ruling significantly limiting the power of individual lower court judges to issue decisions with nationwide effect. Those judges handing down more than 24 injunctions blocking Trump executive actions as of May, from military service to federal funding to the focus of the current case, a nationwide injunction halting his executive order banning birthright citizenship.
We've seen a handful of radical left judges effectively try to overrule the rightful powers of the president to stop the American people from getting the policies that they voted for in record numbers.
Justice Amy Coney Barrett, writing for the conservative majority today, finding lower court judges have gone too far with their nationwide orders, writing, when a court concludes that the executive branch has acted unlawfully, the answer is not for the court to exceed its power too. The ruling sparking a pointed clash between the justices. Liberal Justice Sonia Sotomayor dissenting, saying, today's decision...
I just seen you, Rashad, you holding your fingers like this. You ain't no... I just seen you, Rashad, you holding your fingers like this. You ain't no motherfucking gangster. Sit your weak ass down, acting like you a motherfucking gangster. You ain't no motherfucking G. Holding up gang signs and all them pictures.
Public school on days that books with gay and transgender themes are taught, and upholding a Texas law requiring the users of websites with sexually explicit material provide identification verifying they're over 18.
Okay, so for more on some of these blockbuster decisions, Laura Jarrett joins us live in studio, and NBC News legal analyst Angela Senadella joins us now. It's so great to have you guys. Laura, let me start with you. Let's go back to birthright citizenship. Walk our viewers through what happened, because the court didn't really make a ruling on that.
Yeah, so now this is going to go back down to the lower courts, and the lower courts are going to be the ones to say, okay, is this the type of thing that actually deserves a block nationwide? Is it something where the relief only makes sense if it's done nationwide? And so you see now all the plaintiffs clamoring tonight to say, please certify us as a class so that we can get that nationwide treatment. But Tom, there might be instances in which the court says, yes, a state should do that, it should go nationwide. But then again, the government's going to come along and say no, and it's going to go back up to the Supreme Court.
And so on injunctions, Angela, the president called this a monumental victory for the Constitution, to quote him. Does this get us closer to the Constitution, and does this give his administration and future administrations sort of carte blanche when it comes to executive orders?
So Tom, look, I think it depends on your definition of how close it gets to the Constitution, because on one side, the dissent would say that these judges were only off issuing injunctions when they thought that the president was operating in an unconstitutional way, right? So it really depends on flip sides. Now, does it get us closer to a carte blanche president? It gets you closer, but there are still guardrails